Hello, hello, and welcome back to Hero Infinite. And I am joined this time by the wonderful Sleepy.
Hello.
Yee, we
I
got a
am
new player, boys and girls, and everything else.
to forget it.
um, words. I'm good at starting sessions. All right, I'm just gonna jump right into things because that'll be the easiest way for me to do this. Oh boy, I have to do a intro that I've scripted out in my head and practiced multiple times, and I'm inevitably gonna fuck up anyway.
Sorry. Smoothness. Smooth.
E ooh ooh ee ooh ah. All right. In ancient times, there were beings known as heroes, individuals of immense power who stood above the common man. Some of these beings got their powers by being the descendants of gods. Others set themselves apart from their fellow man through great feats. And amongst the ancient people, none were more powerful than the one who wielded the mad arcane power of the Alpha Stigma. An arcane symbol that granted infinite reach into the wells of magic that manipulated this world. And this story is about the final wielder of the Alpha Stigma. So, as we open up, you do you want to say your character's name and describe their appearance real quick?
So, my character's name is Sir Folk, and he's probably about like 5'9", 5'10", medium build, dark brown hair. He's got wizardry robes on, like a sort of dark blue and black, with bits of white for detailing. And like just some like hard leather boots. He's got. That's about it. He's got these seemingly like light blue sigils in his eyes. At least when he's not using magic.
They both eyes branded these symbols.
Yeah. And outside of that, he's fairly average looking, you know.
Yeah, and so
if he didn't have the robes and everything, you probably would mistake him for another like common
just
guy.
an average person. So as we open up, we see a spiring castle covered in twisting towers that glimmer with arcane energy. Stood in the center of a city that lays under siege. Catapults and trebuchets roll through the fields and the farms, bearing on them symbols of the new Holy Empire. The Crusaders, the Templars, stand at the gates of the kingdom, catapulting large flaming balls over the walls. The streets filled with panic, as individuals armed with both armor and sword, as well as magical staff alike, garrison the walls. Force fields being thrown up to repel the stones. Soldiers lining on the walls, levying arrows and spells. And inside the castle, a figure wrapped in robes hurriedly sprints through the halls, tripping over themselves. My lord! My lord! The Templars have come! They're storming the gates! They appeared as if from nowhere! And sat at the throne is your character. I forget the name you just told me.
Sir Folk.
Yeah, Sir Folk sat at the or sits in the throne in his robes. What do you do?
So Hark's gonna be, I guess, like sitting already kind of straight up, probably talking to like whatever advisors and whatever is already in there. He's gonna turn to the, I guess, this corridor or whatever that's running and say, and what of our defenses? Are we prepared? Have we started evacuation? So they fully surrounded us?
There is no chance to evacuate. The kingdom is completely surrounded. We are all of our armies are garrisoned and stationed to begin, or in order to fight and defend. Sorry, I'm having a lag issue on my computer. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we have all of our armies garrisoned, but their army, we've never seen one so large.
No one was able to sense it coming. It just appeared. Did they teleport here? Was there no sensing of it, or did you know?
We're not sure. It's as if they came from nowhere.
Ollie, does this city have like kind of like a group? I don't want to say like a group shield, but like a shield that like is like would cover the whole city, like a central fucking shielding point, I suppose.
There is no specifically like preset systems that you have in place, but you definitely know some very powerful shielding spells. And if you were to get to the top of your highest tower, you could easily cast a spell that would protect the kingdom for some time. Of course, no shield holds forever, but especially against an army like a simple army of mortals, which you know the Templars consist of since they disdain magic, you could hold off for quite some time.
Yeah, enough to regroup and figure out what the next move is. All right.
Yeah.
Corey, go tell the, I guess whoever's in command. I wouldn't know the names right now.
Yeah, go tell the generals.
Yeah, go tell the generals and mages. To defend as best they can. I'm going to cast a spell to cover our city for a time, so we can figure out what we do next.
All right. He's just like, yes, sir, and runs off.
I guess I'll just start making my way up to the top of the tower. I guess trying to look out any windows to see what's going on outside.
Yeah, sorry, I'm rapidly clicking through my notes to make sure I have things together, and it is slow, so I'm sort of splitting my attention a little bit as I'm talking.
It's all good.
So you said you're gonna go and look out the window real quick?
It's all good. Yes, I'm gonna go to the top of the tower. Be looking out windows as I go to get a grasp of the situation.
Hang on, sorry, my computer's lagging out suddenly. What the hell, computer? Why?
Sorry.
Hang on. Hold on. Sorry, technical difficulties. God, why is my thing lagging so bad? Quality content. Okay, I think it's stabilized. So, you said you're going to go look out the window?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the top of the tower to cast a spell, and as I do, I'm going to be looking out windows to get a grasp of the situation.
Alright, so you're just sort of running up the tower. And you can see, like, the entire farmland is basically consistent of like it's full of massive armies and siege devices. Like, it's an obscenely huge force is attacking, you know?
I don't know where. Bullshit.
What is your plan? Oh, wait, no, sorry, you said you're going up and casting a shield. Duh. I'm sorry, like I said, it's got slightly dual attention as I'm trying to get a thing ready on the side.
It's all good.
And my computer lagging out is not helping with it. Why is it in the middle? Why is it during this stream it's suddenly fucking up? So, do you want to? So you run up to the top of the tower, and I'll let you describe what you casting the spell looks like.
I imagine that, like, whenever he starts casting, or he gets to the top, he's kind of like look around, and sort of point both hands to the sky and start doing like a revolving motion.
Mm-hmm.
And like from his hands, like I want to say like a blue like light kind of comes out and extends to like I guess where the centermost point would be of the shield, and would start to extend down, in a sort of like almost like drippy glass fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Like what it looks like visually, where it has like a sheer sheen to it, but it's kind of almost like viscous in look as it comes down and covers from the walls up to that point. But of course, when he does so, the blue glyphs in his eyes like turn red and kind of project out a little bit, to where it seems like they're now sitting in front of his eyes almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry. I was scrolling through notes super fast. So this session's starting late tonight because I got super distracted, so I didn't get to do the full prep I normally do beforehand. So forgive me to both you and the audience. In fact, man, I forgot to bring up. Ooh, wrong UI. I'm just gonna give you an extra hero point as an apology for the fuck up, Sleepy.
No problem. Thank you. I will definitely take the hero point.
Come on. Sorry, technical issues. Okay, there we go. Sorry. So you go up and you start to cast the spell, and like, it's of, or, so you said it like it's sort of looking almost like a glass dome melting over the city.
Yeah.
As it goes, it sort of shimmers and like, you know, light gleaming off of it has the from the obscene power of the magical capabilities you have, you know. And you can see like down below, the armies are like excitedly looking up, realizing like, oh, their king, their leader is taking to the battlefield now. You know, they can immediately recognize when it's a spell cast by you being utilized.
Right.
Several of the flaming boulders getting catapulted over hit the force field and sort of repel away. And the shield slowly begins to move down over everything. And, again, sorry, I'm just clicking through and reading notes and stuff super fast. and you see, like, as the shield goes down, the Templars almost seem to begin to slow their movement and, like, stop rushing the wall, as they can recognize, like, you know, what magic means, and, you know, how hard it would be to penetrate that.
Right.
And you look down, and, like, once the shield is fully encapsulating the city, things seem to, like, you know, the fighting ceases for the time being. As they can't actually penetrate the wall. So what do you do as soon as you have that up, the shield in place? It will require a certain level of concentration maintained from you, but with the aid of your Alpha Stigma, that'll be no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. I like to cast another spell
Mhm.
to take a look around like the surrounding army and try and see if I can't find anyone who'd stand out as like leadership or something of that kind.
Hmm. You begin to run your eyes over the crowd, trying to spot, you know, who could be in charge of everything going on.
I want to specifically. I want to use something like an eagle eye spell or something that lets me enhance my vision.
Yeah, like
So maybe,
zoomed in eyes and
yeah,
vision.
yeah, to pinpoint exactly
Which,
that
for,
might.
for the purpose of this segment, I'm not having you do skill checks, because, you know, we talked about
Oh,
why.
gotcha,
And you
gotcha.
begin to look around, like, scanning through, and all of them, you know, they're all in their heavy armor, carrying different banners, equipped, but far back amongst the crowd, a figure does, like, come into sight who stands out amongst the rest. And you're gonna have a slight stream delay before you see this person, but you see a lone figure in gleaming armor sat on horseback. Um,
I did.
I knew you would know who this character is and would appreciate it.
All right. Okay.
Uh,
I was not expecting this guy.
so yeah, you see this figure is, like, stood towards the back of the line.
Well, what I'm gonna do next is can I cast another bigger spell, or is there like a limit to what I can do? Well,
You are the wielder of the Alpha Stigma. You have no limits.
oh yeah, all right, fair enough. I'm gonna start casting another spell. Where I want uh basically he's covering the sky in like dark thunder clouds. Um, no rain or anything yet.
Hmm.
Um, but like that's sort of the beginning there. They're collecting and extending over both the city and the surrounding army. And once it's kind of big enough and like if you know how dark it gets when there's like it's not outside and it's a tornado, um, you really can't see unless there's lightning.
Hmm.
And up until it gets to about that dark, nothing happens. And then it's gonna open up with a deluge of like baseball sized hail um, raining down. With the shield and everything, it'll protect the city. Um,
Hmm. So you're raining hail down on the opposing army.
yeah, as well as big, massive lightning strikes with, kind of scattered around, um, mostly aimed at what seems to be like maybe like leaders of like platoons or whatever,
Trying to
as well as
specifically
multiple.
target and take out leadership with heavier hail.
Yeah, and then multiple thrown at the guy in armor on horseback. Um,
Um,
Kind of get him a poke, see how he responds.
so outside of, like, unbeknownst to you as this is happening, I'm actually gonna go ahead and turn the combat music back on because I'm still kind of in the heat of the scene. I thought things were gonna slow down for a moment, but uh,
Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. So the uh you know, you can't quite see this happen as the storm starts to rally up. Some of the soldiers near the man look up and they're like, Sir Griffith, what should we do? Fear not the magic of the accursed ones. We will stand firm against them because we have the gods by our side, or we have the power. We have the might of our god by our side. And he draws his blade, and he sort of points it towards the tower. And as you're casting your spell, you hear in your mind, "This will be the moment, the final bastion of the heathenistic wizards falls." So you heard that from where you are atop the tower. And as you look back down to him, and the hail begins to fall, he moves his blade over his head, cutting through some of the hail that got close to him, but that slash seems to stretch further than it should, as the sky above him splits open, shining light down on him. A number of his men begin to retreat, and his horse rears up and he says, "Do not stand back now! Our god is on our side!" And a lightning bolt splits through the opening in the sky, hitting your shield. A shield which should have taken an army of wizards days to penetrate shatters. And immediately your forces, which had begun to try and calm down, go back into a panic, garrisoning again, as the members of his army, which had begun to retreat in fear of the clouds, turn and begin to charge back. His horse rears down and he turns to the man near him. "Send out the command. If anybody is seen retreating, they are to have their knees taken out from behind, so they may face judgment later. Continue the charge." "But sir, I thought this was a siege." "The time for a siege has passed. The Alpha Stigma is here." And you're able to hear that with your enhanced senses and tell that conversation just happened since you said you were watching him. So what do? He just used magic that as far as you've seen, only people of your capability should be able to pull off.
Rubs hands together, rubs face like a fly. I'm going to basically do a mass telepathic link, like my generals and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, gather your forces, get all civilians to safe houses and safe places, and defend as best you can. Work together to put together some sort of shield to defend yourselves. I'm going to work on casting a greater spell.
It's worth noting, with your ability to perceive magic and how it works, you could tell magic was radiating off him when he did that, but he did not seem to cast a spell. That looked more akin to when a magical creature uses its innate ability.
Yeah. So I can just straight up just cast a spell to do something. I'm not sure my limits.
I talked to you before session. Like I said, for right now, more or less aim for whatever you choose to aim for, and I'll let you know if you can't.
Okay. I'm gonna stop trying to cast this storm spell that I'm putting together. I'm gonna just let that fade. I'm gonna let the clouds fade away. I want it clear, okay? And I want to cast a spell that I'm thinking is something like Starfall, basically, right? But I'm assuming it's the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it nighttime.
Yeah, so from above your tower, the storm that you had made coalesce and begins to go away. Instead, the daylight seems to begin to vanish as it suddenly is seemingly becoming like nighttime.
And I want to I'm a conductor in an orchestra, right? I wanna be weaving magic, I guess, that way. This, and I wanna have it to where like it looks like the stars in the sky are like falling down, and they turn into fiery meteors that just slam into the ground. And I want to throw a big one at this guy that just slashed my other spell and destroyed my shield.
Mm-hmm. So
That is this.
yeah, the meteorites begin to rain down. There's an immediate clear panic amongst the audience, or amongst the invading army.
Yeah, they're my audience, bro.
And like it's like the stars themselves are falling from above. And you throw one, like you make one fall directly on him, and as it's falling down toward him, he just seems to, like, smile slightly as he holds up a hand. He stands on the back of his horse, holds up a hand, and seems to, like, catch the meteorite falling toward him as it floats above him. And you can see, like, a silvery strand, like, looks almost like metal, has extended from his grasp and is holding it. And a blackness begins to spread across his hand, looking like a metal or a leather. His hand looking almost demonic. Is this all that the fabled Alpha Stigma is capable of? I should have known.
Is he saying this where I can hear it again?
He is speaking, but with your enhanced senses, you can hear it. As you're looking toward him and focusing on him. And he just smiles, he's like, I should have known that even the most powerful of the mages could not stand up to the might of a god. And, I was gonna say, the white cape on his back begins to turn black as he lifts up in the air, still holding the meteorite. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, as he said that, I have a question. What knowledge do I have on, like, other realms, etc.? Is it possible for me to just, like, open a little, like, gap in reality?
You could attempt to open a portal, but, like, while you are very, very powerful and you can do lots of you didn't actually turn it to night. You casted a Starfall spell, which is, an effect of it is that it makes it appear as if night. Right. Portals, especially interdimensional ones, are incredibly difficult. They're some of the most hard to pull off magic. You could definitely open a portal and yourself flee to one of the adjacent realms. There are two realms that are overlap ours, Fae and Shadow Fae. And those are the realms that you can reach out to. There's also the realms that lie above and below, the realm of the demons and the realm of the seraphim. Very little is known of the realm of the seraphim because they actively refuse dealings with mortal. Demons are more than willing to deal with people, as are Fae entities, but it usually isn't a good idea. You could definitely open a portal enough for yourself to reach out and speak into those planes and try and cut a deal.
What if I do think I want to try. I wanted to try and see if I couldn't, like, just kind of, like, split a hole and get him to go through it.
You can't open portals that far from you currently.
Okay. Well,
yeah, generally the way a portal works is you create a circle right in front of you and then step through that portal.
Yeah. I'm going to take into effect that my first spell, most mortal armies would have died to. My second spell is any mortal army would have died to, and this dude is...
Yeah, easily holding them back and is absolutely terrifying. And as you're trying to figure out what you're doing, he is going to throw that meteorite at you.
Can I hold up a hand and crush it? Like, hold up an open palm and then, like, make a move like I'm making a fist where I'm crushing it, and I just compact it down
Yeah.
into like nothingness, I suppose, dust that blows away on the wind.
Yeah, as it flies towards you. And I should say, when you made the storm and the star thing, you did create a big magical circle above you that projected above you. Because all of your magic has to project the arcane circle you're using initially. Right. And so you quickly do like the movements for the spell you're thinking, creating an arcane circle, and then hold out your hand through the center of it. Has a giant magic hand sort of wraps around it, around yours, and you catch the meteorite and crush it down. Oh, what the hell? I did change music. No, I don't need Metal Gear music.
Alright. Can I one hand... Can I keep using this spell? In the sense, like, I've already cast the sigil, I've made myself a big hand. Can I keep using the big hand?
Yes.
Okay. On one hand, I want to start casting a spell to open a gate to any realm that is not a demon realm. So, Fae or Seraphim.
Just panically opening the first portal you can think of.
While I'm going to try and just Buddhist palm this guy from the sky like the god he's proclaiming to serve.
Like trying to like shoot your hand out after him.
Yeah,
the giant
Buddhist
hand.
palm. Yeah, sorry. Like just basically like, big palm from the sky smashing down on it, basically.
Yeah, you shoot the hand up and it goes up through the starry inky field, disappearing behind it. As the star spell begins to disperse and the light shining through it again. Do not stop now, brothers! The final bastion of the heathens falls today! The armies of the Templars charging forward. This is the last crusade! Your hand begins to reach down, and he smiles, and the earth around him reaches up as if a giant palm. And, like, he's not casting spells. That's the thing that's throwing you off. If he was casting spells, you could do something with that. You could counterspell it. He's not making arcane circles. He's not doing gestures. Things are just happening around him. As a giant earthen hand wraps around him and catches the one you are throwing down at him. And then the rift opens up, and all of a sudden, everything seems to, like, slow and turn bleak and cold around you. As the air seems to go still. Well. Another mage in danger. And you look to the side, and you see you didn't finish casting your portal spell, but one is open. You see just next to you, where one of your, or like, nearby would be one of your lower towers of your castle. And you can see that same castle tower, but in ruins, and atop it, a giant raven. You recognize that cold, that chill. It's the Shadow Fae. I can save you and your people from Griffith.
What's the price?
Your alpha stigma. As the raven turns its eye, and its eye gleams with a reflection of the symbol in your eye.
Sorry, but I can't give up them. I can't give that up.
I will let you keep it, but I wish to have domain over its power. To see the knowledge it holds. For 6 generations, that eye has built up unfathomable arcane knowledge. I wish for the information held within, for the memories of the stigma. You can keep your eye, but I want what it holds within.
If you're willing to save me and my people, and eventually in some capacity, allow me to return to mortal realm,
Hmm.
then I'll be willing to serve you, and you may have access.
Servitude. Very well. The deal is struck. And you feel your eyes sear as magical symbols flow out of your eye and into the wings of the raven, as it unfolds its wings and stands up and becomes a woman. And you see the portal that was there suddenly expand out around and just engulf the kingdom. And from an outside perspective, the Templars all charging in, attacking the walls. The portal just wraps around and swallows the whole entire of the kingdom, its walls, everything. And they're just stood at the side of a crater now. A bunch of them turning and looking to their leader, and like some shocked, some cheering. And Griffith calls out, "This is it! The age of magic is over! The dark ages have ended! A new empire of endless dawn shall rise! In the name of our god, in the name, the White Falcon." And then we flicker over to the Shadow Fae, where
As the Grand Wizard of Elven Time.
what?
That guy's the Grand Wizard of Elven Time.
Sorry, one more time.
That guy's the Grand Wizard of Elven Time.
Oh yeah. I am taking elements of characters in fiction and I'm playing with them. I felt Griffith was a good guy to have be the one bringing about the end of the Dark Age.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I mean, it's because in the world, I mean, to go off on a tangent, the world of Berserk is a world that is like missing its magic almost, and he is adding it back in. That is a very gross simplification of the plot of Berserk.
Yeah, yeah, that is. But no, that's fair.
In this continuity, though, in this reality, it's almost sort of the opposite. It was a world wrought with magic, and he brought an end to it by making it his. Cough, cough.
Well, he didn't take my shit, little pussy.
But as you stand at top of your tower, you see not just your city, but dozens of cities lined up next to it. And you glance around, you can see Albion, you can see Gondor, you can see all of the magical kingdoms. I was gonna come up with more names, but the magical kingdoms all there next to each other. Things that were once separated by the length of a continent are all just here next to each other.
Oh, well, I think that's something.
Welcome to my realm, wielder of the Alpha Stigma.
It's good to see that at least the rest of us lived.
And you suddenly realize you don't remember any of your spells. As you see in her hand swirling a cacophony of arcane symbols, but just as you start to glance at it, she quickly closes her hand and it's gone. I wouldn't be foolish enough to let you relearn it that quickly now.
Just a little bit of time. That's all it'll take.
I let you keep your gift. She floats towards you. Let you keep the Alpha Stigma. But I won't let you mount more than 1 or 2 meager spells. I reserve the right to pluck spells from your mind as I see and keep them for myself. I am curious to see what magic you will learn. You realize you recognize her. She is the Raven Queen, ruler of the Shadowfell, collector of knowledge untold. And now it all makes sense why she wanted you. You will be my researcher. Across these kingdoms stands all magic knowledge that humanity has gained since the fall of the first empire of Endless Dawn. That strikes you as weird because you don't know of the first empire of Endless Dawn. You know of the Empire of Endless Dawn, the ancient empire that fell almost 1,000 years ago, or over 1,000 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, the first empire of the Endless Dawn. Excuse you. I wish for you to read it all, so that I may pluck it from your eye.
The magic you can take, but the knowledge I get to keep. And that, excuse me.
As much as you can, she smiles. And, what follows, is,
Check the timeline. How many thousands of years am I stuck here researching?
you lose track of the time. In the Shadow Fae, there is no day and night. It's a perpetual state of dark overcast. And your servitude becomes simple. You are put into a tower room, and books are passed by you. You look at the spell for a moment, and your alpha stigma absorbs the knowledge. You know the spell, you could cast it, and just as quick as you learn it, it's gone. Magic never remaining in your head for more than a few meager moments. You get breaks in between, you get time to rest, to eat, and you learn much of how the Shadow Fae works. It is a shadow of our world, and a grim reflection of it. But, so long as the things remain observed, they do not age, they do not decay, and they do not change. And that is the power of the Raven Queen. Omnisentience allows her to maintain a realm. She can see everything in it, and therefore nothing goes away and decays like everything else would. Her ability to perceive what happens around her prevents it from succumbing to the natural rot of this realm. And using that, she's preserved all wizards, all magic. Over time, the connected cities lower their walls and interconnect themselves. You see out your tower window as the structures build and amass on each other, turning from a collection of distraught cities scattered across the continent of Duggerland to becoming one grand megalopolis. Structures of stone interlacing through each other, a labyrinth that to anybody who does not live here would be unfathomable to navigate. And you stand locked in the center, the wielder of the Alpha Stigma, the greatest of all wizards, turned into a servant of the one who maintains this realm. You're able to hear whispers pass through as food is brought to you, as you are given time to rest. For a time, you were viewed as the most powerful mage, as the most sought after amongst your kind. And now, you're viewed with pity. But gratitude. Your sacrifice is why the Raven Queen allows the wizards to live here. Your sacrifice saved all of the wizard kind. She had been plucking them one by one, waiting for them to fall under siege of the New Dawn Empire. The Holy New Dawn Empire. And when they were all at their most desperate moment, she offered them the deal to come here. But it was all a grand scheme, waiting for you to be plucked with the rest. Because she wanted your magic above all else. Your ability to instantly learn a spell, and her ability to pluck knowledge from people's minds. You're a tool to let her learn spells that would previously take decades, to learn them in moments. And over this time, you allow her to accrue the magic of a millennia. But, you're clever as you do this. You're only allowed brief moments to look at each spellbook, but you're able to use those moments to quickly jot down notes, put together disparate information, Scattered across your desk and the floor are spatterings of notes that you know, in deep down, you'll be able to put together and reassemble a spellbook. A meager one, a small handful of spells, but it's what you will need to begin to become a wizard again. You don't know whether you resent her or whether you're grateful to her, because you don't know if you could have stood up against that being you faced. You don't even know what he was. All you know is that he could not have been a mortal man. Then, one day, a book is brought before you, and you read the spell, and you memorize it, and it vanishes before you, and another one, and then another one. All has standard. And then, she walks in. Your queen. Sorry, forgive me again. What was your character's name?
Sir Folk.
Sir Folk. You've been dutiful to me over this last millennium. She smiles, and she sets down a book in front of you. This is the last spell I need you to memorize. With this, I will have learned every spell that every wizard knew. Why is my music not playing anymore? There we go, the music glitched. You have learned every spell that every wizard in your land knew. All of this knowledge. But much has changed in the time you have been in service to me. And new magic has been learned within the mortal realm. And that is why I need you to cast this spell. As she flips the book open, and you look down and you see the spell. It's a spell to return to the mortal plane. Something which she has dutifully kept from you, and you for reasons that you are quite sure of.
So finally, time to return.
Do not be mistaken, though. She turns your head up as you're still absorbing the spell. You are still my servant. You still serve the Raven Queen, Lord of Shadowfey. And your job is simple. You are to gather magic for me to learn. Your time here in this realm is done. Do know that your servants, your fellow wizards and their descendants... Actually, no descendants, she's frozen them all in age. Your fellow wizards will remain here, unaging, immortal, able to practice and learn magic as much as they wish, in peace, so long as they remain within the walls of this city. And may it be known that you are the one who made this city what it is. From this day forward, this will be known as the Wizard City of Folk. Erected within your honor in the Shadowfey. They will never forget the sacrifice you made. You will be treated as a god amongst these men. Treated as my right-hand man. But now, you must return to the land of the mortals, and learn what new magic has sprung up. So long as you keep a flow coming in, I will allow you to do what you wish, with relatively little oversight. You will have freedom again. You will know peace. But don't shirk on your responsibility. I'm sending you to a place... Sorry, go ahead.
And I get to keep new magic, and I actually get to keep spells this time.
I'll allow you to hold on to a small handful, and if you perform well, maybe I'll allow you to hang on to more as time passes. She waves her hand, and all of the notes you've been hiding around your room will suddenly scatter together and weave into a tome that she holds. You think I didn't know what you were doing? She puts it down in front of you. You've picked the spells you want to know.
mean, omniscience leads itself to knowing what I'm doing, but one can always hope that privacy still exists, even after however long.
Oh, you seek revenge on the one who sent you here.
Or
Well,
whatever he came from.
she smiles. I'm sure you'll find your revenge. But you won't get any hints from me.
It's fun.
I'm sending you to a place where the veil stands thin. The place where magic may hold the most potential currently. A place where magic is currently active. You are going to the mortal city of justice. And you see a portal, she makes a portal open behind her, and you see something like you have never seen before. Towers of stone and iron that stand taller than even the tallest tower of your castle. Buildings of, I'm just gonna say a neo-Gothic architectural style, or not neo-Gothic. What was it? Fuck, I looked this up a couple sessions ago. What was the artistic? Hang on.
Yeah.
What was the architectural styling of the Chicago World Fair? It was...
That is never something I've thought of, so I could help you with that.
I'm googling it real fast because I know what it is. That's what the City of Justice uses as its main style. Neoclassical architecture. Look up the Chicago World Fair and you'll see what I'm referring to. Basically, picture the architectural styling that you see in these images, but turned into skyscrapers. Basically, you're walking into Gotham.
No way. Hold on.
Yeah, just look up Chicago World Fair and look at the images, and like this city is that, but skyscrapers.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's sick. Alright.
With a little bit of mix of modern buildings, but predominantly it's buildings that look like that.
This is not a building style that I've sseen before, right?
No, it feels vaguely reminiscent of ancient structures of the Everdon Empire. Buildings that you studied like heavily in order to try and understand ancient magic in your time. But it looks different. There's there's shining metal lining the buildings, and they stand unbelievably tall with glass surfaces lining them. And of course, you see the asphalt streets with cars. It's the middle of the night, though, she leads you to step through the portal, and you see like you're in like an alleyway essentially.
Ravenquin.
Yes.
Is it possible to send more information, just magic pack? This building structure style is somewhat fascinating.
Uh-oh.
And knowing how long our lives are here and are there in the Shadow Bay, perhaps doing some rebuilding might keep things interesting.
Humanity has advanced greatly since you've been gone. But don't worry. She waves her hand, and a pair of raven wings are floating over her hand. With my blessing, I will see all that lies within your mind, and whatever knowledge I wish to keep, I will peruse from you. And she pushes the wings forward with emotion, and they fly out and latch onto your back, giving you a big pair of black wings. And then, in a moment, they're gone. And you immediately know in your head, if you want them back, they will just appear from you, and you'll be able to fly whenever you wish. And this is a marker of her blessing.
How am I dressed? Am I still dressed in my robes?
Yes. And she says, good luck. And the portal disappears. And, yeah. Now you're just stood in the city. You can tell that it's like the sun is rising. It's the start of a new day. And I'm gonna throw this out to you. This is entirely your call. If you would like, other players can begin appearing in your session now if you want, if they are available. in this session as it is underway, or do you want this to remain as a one-player session?
I'm fine with other players joining.
All right, Tristan, if you want, I know you're sitting in call right now. Your character can show up at any moment you choose. But in the meantime, Sheebs, it's gonna be a little more iffy with. Oh wait, no, neither of your characters can show up because you're both tied up elsewhere. Shoot, I forgot about that. Never mind. I forgot they're both stuck in a place where they're not gonna get out of easily. Oh well. Sorry, everybody. I've deprived everybody of more Ollie. But yeah.
Look, what is it? Distance makes the heart go fonder, bro.
Yeah. So, as we open up, you are, you know... Tristan has bonked me. Hang on, Oh, wrong sound effect. Oh, I was trying to play a screaming sound effect, but I think that got removed. Oh, no.
Hey guys, what's going on?
That sound effect threw me off so bad. Please never play that one again.
I only ever throw it out every once in a while, and it always gets people. They're never ready.
Yeah.
I think Hulk is going to, I guess, walk out of the alley and towards where the street area is, just to kind of get a sort of idea of what he's looking at.
A couple of cars drive by, and you're immediately struck with shock at them, especially as the fact you do not sense any magic coming from these giant hunks of metal moving at an obscene speed.
What? Oh, I've been gone too long. That is incredible. How do they do that? How does it work? I'm sure there's street lamps and shit, right?
Yep, with light shining from them. And you sense zero magic around you. In fact, you feel your magic is weakened as you approach one of the lamps, and you put your hand on it and you realize why. Iron. Iron is the bane of magic. Magic is weaker in the presence of it, and fey creatures in particular are harmed by iron. Well, fey are harmed by iron. Excuse me, I just breathed in saliva.
Go ahead, cough it out.
Fey... Okay, I think I'm good now. Fey are harmed by iron. Shadow Fey are harmed by silver. And there is an exorbitant amount of iron surrounding you currently. Which, your immediate thought is, oh god, what effect must this be having on the Fey, which is a realm forced to mirror this one?
So, I wonder how many cities are built like this. It's gotta be just this one. This is way too much iron. Where'd they get all this iron from? Oh, this, just to put it all into building? Why?
And you look and you do also notice, like, the obscene amount of stone that this clearly must be the grandest empire man has ever built. With how, like, these buildings stand taller than your tallest tower of your castle. And as far as you know, your castle was the tallest in the world. And these are taller than that. And there are dozens of them. Hundreds, it looks like. It's hard. You can't even see the distance due to the buildings.
Hulk's gonna fly. Hulk's going up. He's going to the top of one of these buildings.
You sprout your rings, fly up, and you land on one. And you see this city stretches for miles. As far as the eye can see, you see more buildings like this. Like, in the very distance of distance, you can see pockets where there aren't these buildings, and there's a mountain range some distance away that clearly isn't covered in these, but from ocean to mountain, more or less, well, there is a forest around the mountain nearby, but you know, it's a city. It's the biggest city you've ever seen.
Oh, humanity!
You see a plane flying in the distance.
What the hell? No magic?
You sense zero magic anywhere you look.
Folks gonna like sit down for a second.
Is there something flying without magic and no flapping wings? That's not a dragon, that's not a bird, that is... You don't know what it is, it's white, and shaped kinda like a bird, but not quite.
I feel like folks spent so much time in this room. He's taking a habit of like talking to himself out loud.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna sit down for a second, like head in hands, like elbows on knees, like sitting forward, going like, okay, things are very different. First things first, information. Second thing, whatever passes is money. I'm gonna check my pockets. Do I have anything? Dear God, what a gift! Thank you.
You have nothing in your inventory. What GIF was just posted?
I love that gift.
Oh, it's the plane flapping its wings like a bird GIF. I wish it was easier for me to throw GIFs on stream, but it's such a hassle to show them anytime I try to.
Okay. I'm gonna look around. Do I sense any magic from anywhere I see?
You see no magic anywhere.
What new magic? Oh, if you look in the stream chat, I'll play.
Oh. What is going on there? Oh, hang on. Jenna being able to leave where she's currently locked up for class, but she promises to come. That's a true as a way we could justify Jenna appearing. You know, well, we can always just have your characters show up and just, not address where you were last time and, come up with an explanation in your next session. Play a little bit with the linearity of things. Jenna's appearance in this city might be a little harder because she lives in the other city, but I'll look for a moment to get her in. So you know what? Yeah, Tristan, you can make your character appear anytime, and we'll work out how you ended up from where you are to here later. If you want to make your character appear.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So go ahead and continue saying what you were saying, though, Sleepy.
Folks gonna I guess get up and he's gonna fly down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Try and find somebody to talk to.
You fly down. Are you gonna just land in the road and walk up to a person, or are you gonna land down somewhere out of sight and then find a person?
He doesn't quite realize how
crazy a person with wings would be.
Yeah, to him it'd probably be I guess to him and his time it'd be weird, right?
But people knew magic existed, so it was whatever.
And so, I'm sure there was just a variety of magical creatures. Some of them have wings, etc. Maybe a polymorph potion of some sort, etc. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Blessing.
So you're just gonna fly down in front of a person without any concern.
Yeah, fly down in front of a person.
I love it. So yeah, you land down in front of a person who's wearing an overcoat and a hat, clearly it's like a guy on his morning commute heading to the bus station or something, or train station. Right. You land in front of me, oh, and he stumbles back and immediately looks like he's trying to in his head in this moment determine, is this a hero talking to me or is this a villain mugging me? Is where his brain is at right now.
Excuse me, Cobbler. I require a bit of information. Can you tell me what year it is?
What? Oh, it's worth noting, just as a quick stand-in, the Alpha Stigma grants you the ability to speak and read all languages. That is the justification of why you can talk to these people, for the people who might be wondering. So sorry, what was your question? What year is this?
Yes.
It's 2025? What do you... He's looking at you with a thought, his brain is trying to process any one of them dozens of reasons somebody could be asking that question.
So, when obviously I left...
It was the 12th century.
the 12th century. So my calendar doesn't line up with their calendar, right?
It does, because you were already using the equivalent of the Gregorian calendar in this world. So that's a fun thing that is worth thinking about, is like
Okay.
the calendar. Hang on, actually, when was the Gregorian calendar established? I gotta look into this.
So
When
that
was the
was my first
Gregorian
question.
calendar established? In the 1500s. Okay, so you do not have the same calendar system.
That's why I
Hang
was
on.
asking, because I realized we're
What
so far
calendar
back.
system did people use before the Gregorian calendar?
Sorry
Sorry, no,
to
this
like
is an
you.
interesting rabbit hole. The Julian calendar was established in 46 BCE and was used throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. So you probably used this world's equivalent of the Julian Empire, which
Right.
would be the Caesarian Empire, the Caesarian calendar. In this case, in our universe. Because,
And
yes, the
so,
leader of that empire was still named Caesar. He just wasn't Julius Caesar. So, for you, it would have been... Like, I'm trying to think. It would have still been, from your perspective, the 12th century. Your calendar is only going to be disaligned from our real-life calendar by about 50 years. From what I'm looking at here. Because their calendar set the first year has existing in 46 BC.
okay.
And their year was the same length as ours, and it wasn't until the Gregorian calendar was established by the Pope, which this world has relatively similar historic events. Emperor John Caesar. That's what Tristan just said. No, obviously it's Emperor Little Caesar.
Oh my God! Please,
Inventor of pizza.
please. Okay.
He stood 3 inches tall.
So hold on, but so in any case,
Yeah, more...
I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna take it that our calendars are the same, because a 50-year difference feels like it shouldn't matter, right?
Yeah, you'll realize in time, like, more or less it feels like about it's just gonna be, the actual time gap is about 50 years more than what you think it is. So when he says it's 2025, it still is like, holy shit, it's been like almost 1,000 years for me.
Has it just almost been 1,000? That's it.
You came from the late 12th century. So, hang on. Well, let me pop out my calendar. 2025 minus... It's been about 700, 800 years from your perspective, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
So, a little shy of 1,000 years. Still a significant... Wow, it's really only been 800 years since the Crusades? Holy
Yeah, man.
shit, time. Wow, the Crusades are only about 800 years ago in our life. That is insane. Yeah, it's been about 800 years from your perspective.
All right.
When he says 2025.
All right. I'm trying to like
think of what
think
your
of what I want.
character would say, how they would react.
Yeah. It would kind of just like still for a second, just like, huh, 800 years. Okay.
800.
Tell me, how does one make money? Are there any perhaps magic academies looking or open? Perhaps magic stores, magic.
He's like, he looks dumbfounded as he's looking at you. And you're asking these questions.
You seem a little confused. Do commoners not know about magic? Well, what about, okay, different question. What's your nobility here? You know, I assume you have probably a king living here, right? Can you just point me in the
Do I
direction
really
of?
want to be involved in this? Do I really want to be involved in this? Do I really? Let's say you are 800 years old. How are you here now?
Templars came for my kingdom, and I made a deal. And 800 years later, I'm now free to investigate the happenings of you mortals. So tell me, again, your city is amazing. I'm sorry to saturate.
One
Your city's
moment.
like
Sorry,
clean.
just one moment. He turns to the side, reaches in his pocket, and pulls out a small glass rectangle. And he touches the side of it, and it lights up. And he then turns it to his face, does something on it, and then holds it to the side of his head. Hey, boss, I'm gonna be late for work today. It's a superhero incident. Yeah. I'm sure it'll make the news. I don't know.
Like, I'm
I
doing like the thinking man pose, but he's got one arm crossed and one arm like kind of almost using it as a rest, and it's just like stroking his chin as he listens to this guy talk and saying things he's completely unfamiliar with, like superhero.
yeah. You're familiar with the term hero and the term super. Like, hero was used to describe the heroes of old, like
Yeah.
Heracles and Troy. So like,
Well, at least he knows he's dealing with, someone of, a certain what is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
mhm, a certain
Presence, I suppose. Like,
oh
at least
wait,
he's like, oh, so he's talking about like a hero. He's talking about, yeah, being late to something because of what I assume me talking to him, saying hero. He's talking about me. He knows who he's dealing with just by looking at me. Mortals haven't forgot. Thank God.
hang on. Words. Words. Yeah, he's like telling his boss he's gonna be late for work, and he's like, all right, yeah. And he hangs up, and he's like, you'd better not be somebody pranking me right now. Want to get some
Do
coffee?
I know what prank means?
I don't think the word prank would have existed in your time.
I don't think.
Yeah, he's like,
Also, Paulo, do I know what coffee is? Before we continue this conversation.
coffee is from the New World, so you do not.
Okay. What's a prank? And what's coffee?
Uh, uh, we'll explain, once we get there. And we're gonna then cut to you sat at a...
Actually,
Oh, what?
I don't mean to cut in. Coffee was actually like it became popular in the 9th century, so he
Wait.
would know what coffee is.
I thought coffee first appeared from the New World, from the Americas. Oh, I thought that was one of the New World fruits, like tomatoes and potatoes. Okay,
No.
okay, that's good to know. Coffee was
Coffee
indigenous
arrived in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries.
In Europe, but it was originally discovered in Ethiopia around the 9th century.
But he's from 12th century Europe equivalent, so therefore he would not have known of coffee.
So I wouldn't know what coffee is.
Yeah, that's a really good call, and I'm going to give you an extra hero point next session, Sheeps. Thank you for hopping in with the Peanut Gallery. Also, everybody say hello to Sheeps, yay.
Hello.
Yeah, we have a couple of the players sitting in and listening. I allow them to hop in if they want. I will say, if you all would like to pop in as incidental NPCs, feel free. Like, have a waiter walk up if you wanted to hop in that way. It could be if you wanted to be partaking if we can't justify your hero's presence. But yes, my music froze up again. Also, fun fact, the music I currently have playing is called Burned Coffee Bean from the City Skylines OST. So it's excuse me, weirdly thematic. But, Yeah, we cut to you guys sat, and he's now explained to you what a practical joke is and what coffee is, as you both have cups set down in front of you. Ooh, hang
It's
on.
kind of remind me of teas, but it smells very different.
It gives you a lot of energy.
How they made it? Must tell me. What are those things they put it in? Spit it out. That was fascinating.
They're coffee makers. It's a crushed
Wait, so
bean.
they're the machines that they make this?
Wait,
Like what?
hang on. Let's start with one question at a time. Oh God, I'm helping a time traveler get acclimated.
Time travel. You know, I never quite cracked the essence of time magic. It's a little too. But
Wait,
I like.
that's what the word. How? All right, let's start with my questions. How are you here? Actually, let's start with introductions. Chat. What's his name? Chat and or Peanut Gallery. Name this NPC.
Juckton.
What? I'm seeing Colin.
Juckton.
Colin and Juckton. I'm Colin Juckton.
What he said? Juctive?
Was it Juctive or Juckton?
Juckton.
Juckton. Yeah, I'm Colin Juckton.
Like his parents couldn't decide on Jack or Justin.
No, that's his last name, I've decided. He's Colin Juckton.
Then just forget it.
You're gonna get a hero point, don't worry. The name's Colin Juckton.
A last name, so you must be of nobility. My name is Sir Folk, but I'm sure you already know that.
Alright, let me correct two things for you there. Everybody has last names.
No, they don't.
It helps the government, track people better and tell people apart. And, I've never heard of Sir Folk. If you're really from 800 years ago, though, that's not unreasonable.
Interesting. Fair enough, I suppose.
So, how did you get here?
Oh, well, okay. More questions. How did I get here? I spent a long time in a room, and then I was finally let out of my room to come out and play.
That really doesn't answer how you traveled through time 800 years.
I went to a different realm, gained immortality, and now I'm been allowed to leave the realm and return to the mortal plane.
Cool, so you mentioned magic. I guess you're a wizard then?
The wizard. I am the strongest wizard that ever existed. I am utterly surprised you do not know I exist. Did Orland, the Magic Kingdom, Albion, any of these?
Only
sound
wizard
familiar?
I can think of is Merlin, and he's from fairy tales.
Well, okay, what do I know of Merlin? Do I know a Merlin at all?
Let me quickly look up. When historically do the stories of King Arthur take place? They tend to take place in the 5th and 6th centuries during the post-Roman era. And you were from the 12th century, right?
Yeah, so Merlin could definitely have been just one of the oldest wizard kings.
Merlin was the second wielder of the Alpha Stigma.
Oh, so I know he's dead.
Yep. You call
I
on
golf on
Sundays with Merlin?
Yeah, in my dreams I do, I guess. But we don't know what the fuck golf is, actually, so we can't golf.
You might. I think golf existed that far back in Scotland.
Did it?
When was golfing invented? In the 15th century. Yeah, nope, golf didn't
No,
exist.
I know.
I know it comes from the
Yeah.
Scotland Highlands in ancient times.
It's crazy.
Bilbo's
Bilbo's
grandfather
father.
invented it, yes. You know, I cannot tell you how tempted I was to make Lord of the Rings canon to the backstory of this world just for the fun of it.
That'd be fantastic.
And you know, I
Alright.
theoretically could still.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
But yeah,
Merlin is long dead. That's impossible. It must have been some sort of second-hand hack, because
he's just from old children's stories.
Hmm.
Unless he...
unless it was some rogue wizard that was able to survive the purge. And I couldn't say there's any
Can
rogue
you
wizards
prove
left.
to me you know magic? I don't suppose.
Absolutely.
What spell will you cast?
Well, I'm gonna hold out my hand. I'm gonna hold up both hands, and I'm going to spin them close together like I'm making an orb.
Mm-hmm.
And as I do that, I'm gonna say, "What I seek is the absence of sense," and then I'm gonna say "anti," and then I'm gonna expand my hands. And then I need to make a skill check for this. But by speaking this incantation, you stop all sound from traveling within a range based on a skill check.
So you're gonna basically create silence around the two of you, make the rest of the room completely quiet.
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and do the skill check.
I need to roll how many d10s again?
5d10 minimum. Extra ones if you have magic, which I did not write it down because we were in such a rush to get this started. You would get +1 due to your knowledge of magic.
Right, I have that already written down.
Yeah.
I think
on your end,
yeah.
I just didn't write it in my end.
So I got a critical success and a critical failure, and 2 successes, 2 failures. So let me roll again.
Remove the normal failures, and then roll extra dice for all of the 10s.
Right. I got 3 successes.
3 successes total. And how many 1s did you get?
I got 1, but I've already knocked out one of those successes.
Okay, so you already took that into... Yeah.
Yeah.
So just, order of operations is roll all bursts in perpetuum until you run out of bursts, then apply all the ones. Because you get bursts before you get crashes.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just... I'll probably do most of the math for you, just to make it easy.
A 3 is going to give you a maximum range of 3 stages, but I imagine you're not trying to do it to its maximum capacity, so just the area around you guys becomes its isolated bubble of sound. Which, like, when you cast the spell, little magic circles formed in your palm for a second and then dispelled. And, like, he looks up, realizing that there's complete silence. Okay. That looked like what I would assume magic to look like. Huh.
You have... Tell me, do commoners these days just have no... Is it just kept to the nobility? You have no idea of magic.
Magic is a complete myth.
You just saw it happen. We had kingdoms.
From my knowledge, it was a complete myth. I mean,
So
I live in a world with superheroes, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Based on your memory and your record, how many years ago was, I guess, the last crusade was?
Oh, sometime in the Middle Ages. Hang on. He's gonna take out his glass thing again, hit a button on it, and what is? Hang on. What is our world's equivalent of Siri gonna be called? Go ahead, Jeeves.
Is it still silent, or had that ended?
So the spell he cast made it so that no sound travels out of the invisible bubble he made or in it. So you can still hear things, but you can't. All of a sudden, you can't hear the two of them as they're talking, as long as Sleepy maintains this spell.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So, is it still up?
I imagine
Well, no.
if you are nearby, you may have been able to faintly hear the conversation. I'm leaving that up to you. But yeah, the guy, what was his name again? It was, Colin,
Junkton.
Jexter?
Oh my god.
Junkton.
Junkton. Colin
God,
Junkton.
get your NPCs right. I think we
I'm-
should just make this version's Siri just be Cortana, so that she and Master Chief can exist in the same world.
Well, I can't do that because Cortana is actually an AI voice in our world, and also I plan on using Cortana in setting eventually.
Yeah.
Um,
If I'm able to faintly hear the conversation, I can imagine this average height woman with dark auburn hair kind of walks up and like taps you on the shoulder.
Yeah, and as you step closer, you realize you can't hear the cafe anymore.
Well, okay. To answer your question, it's been about 700 to 800 years, give or take.
Oh, she overheard.
I literally forgot what my question was.
How long ago
How long
were the
has it been since
Crusades?
the last crusade?
Right, I followed up with asking, and who led it? And I'm gonna kind of turn and look
Are
at
you gonna
this
try and
person.
sit at the booth, Sheebs?
Yes.
So this, do you sit next to Sleepy or next to the other man? The very exasperated looking man.
She's going to. I feel like she would want to face the stranger.
The wizard.
Yeah.
So yeah, who is very much in like what looks like wizard robes. So yeah, you sit down next to the man. He's like,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
An eavesdropper. Wonderful. Someone else who I can talk to.
No, I wasn't. Okay, yeah, I was eavesdropping.
Hey, yeah, kid. He looks at you. This guy looks like he's probably in like his late 30s, approaching 40. He's like, hey there, kid. You sure you want to be putting your nose in this? I'm not even sure if I want to have my nose in this.
I've got nothing better to do.
Right.
What a great attitude to have. See, this is perfect.
This man claims to be a wizard from 800 years ago.
Well, considering I can't hear anything going on around me, I'd call him a wizard.
Yeah, I'm believing it too, and I don't know how to feel about the fact that I'm believing that.
Honestly, what I can't believe, even more than you can't believe that I exist, is the fact that you don't believe that I exist, or are having trouble with that.
Well, there's never been a time traveler or magic in all of recorded history.
No, they
Well-
definitely have.
Well, I mean, wouldn't
I've
superheroes
read
technically
every
be?
magical book that has ever existed, or sorry, that mortals have ever made.
One at a time. What were you
That
two
took me
saying?
800 years.
I did not understand either because you both talked.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, choose.
Wouldn't superheroes technically be quote magical beings?
Well, no, that's science.
Is it?
They're made using
I mean-
genetic altering serums.
I mean, to the layman, it seems like magic.
I guess it really is pedantics. How does this magic even work? I mean, I don't know if you saw, but he just made, like... Oh god, do I really want to be involved in all of this?
Alright, I'm gonna cast. Can I try and cast on this spell at very low intensity?
Sure, what do you want to cast?
I'm gonna cast my water spell and just kind of try to make like a moving like little like
Ball of water?
yeah, or like I'm trying to think of like an animal or something to make it out of. That's like I want to think of like a dragon or something. That's like fantastic. I'll just have it like move. You know what I mean?
Go ahead and roll to cast the spell. You just want to, you want to get more than 0 successes. If you get negative success, well, we talked about what happens when you crit fail magic. And I will say, as he's doing the sheeps, A magical circle will form in his hand, and the water will come out of it, and his eyes will glow with a magic circle.
Yeah.
Do you want to yeah, go ahead and say the spell?
Yeah. So Folk is gonna kind of like hold with like one hand below, one hand above, and do kind of like a swirling motion with both hands in opposing directions, and say, "What I seek is the water cloud, Mizu," and from his hands, these like magical glyphs will start to appear, and it'll turn into a sort of moving little dragon of water that after maybe a second or so, the spell cuts off and it just kind of revolves in and about itself. And Folk is going to kind of like throw it up almost to where it like floats for a second, and then turns into like, I want to say like mist and vanishes.
Yeah, so there's a wizard sat across from us at a coffee table now.
So Jenna's going to like, her eyes are gonna light up, and can I attempt something?
Sure. What do you want to attempt?
She's gonna do the same motion with her hands, and her powers are gonna like light up in her palms.
And create.
And she's like, I can kind of do that.
A little blue-green light dragon.
Yeah, I can kind of do that.
Oh God! The guy just like immediately puts his hand in his face.
What is that? So
there's just wizards.
Go ahead.
There's just wizards. Oh God! There's just wizards.
So looking at that, can I tell if that's a spell or if that's something innate?
It is not a spell. It is clearly something innate, but you do sense magic from it. So this person before you isn't a wizard, but is a magical being.
To answer or to contest that statement, young Colin, I am perhaps the only wizard left, as wizardry or the manipulation of magic is learned. She is an innately magical being, like me, who could perhaps learn to be a wizard.
Right.
Wait, I could learn to be a wizard?
Maybe.
Cool. Oh,
So
I'm Jenna, by the way. Jenna Powell.
Folks on the like motion for Colin to introduce himself.
Colin Junkton.
Nice to
I'm
meet you, Colin.
The greatest wizard.
Sir Bulk?
Yes.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
So why are you here now? With magic and all of this, all these years later, if what you're saying is all true.
Well, I'm here to investigate, to learn. You guys in your, what was it, a coffee machine?
Yeah.
We keep getting off track about the topic of the incredible advancements that I had missed out on that seemed to rely not on magic at all, but something on mainly iron, which is interesting.
If you're coming from the Middle Ages, man, things have changed a lot.
Iron, electricity.
Electricity. What's that?
Yeah, it's what keeps the lights on.
You've seen lightning bolts, right?
I've harnessed them many a time, yes.
So we've, to put it really simply, learned how to capture lightning bolts. That's the very layman's way I could think to describe
must be
this.
storming bolts.
No, we can make lightning bolts now. It's called electricity.
You can make heaven's wrath. You can make lightning?
I
mean, you can make it, but then you must be using magic.
No, lightning isn't magic. Lightning is caused by ionization. Clouds are made out of stuff. And when that stuff rubs together enough, that's where lightning comes from.
Instant concentrated look on his face as just listening to this guy talk about ionization.
Yeah. He's like, clouds are made out of actual things that exist in the sky, and when they rub together, they make electricity. Have you ever, rubbed together some pieces of wool, and then you could zap things with your finger? You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah. Yes,
I'm pretty sure he could zap things with his finger without using wool.
I'm just trying to give a normal example. Non-magic.
It-
Clouds do that all the time, but on a bigger scale, and that's where lightning comes from, I think. And so, we've learned ways to make that through other means.
Colin, I feel like I insulted you. You are far more learned than I anticipated. You must be a scholar of some kind. What institute did you go to learn all this?
I went to New Justice Business School. I went to New Liberty Business School.
Oh, well, that must be, a grand hall of learning.
Education has come a long way since your time. Almost everyone in the world can read, for example.
Yeah, even women now.
He nods.
Well,
women have the same place in society as men.
With mages, the only deciding factor of most things was magic.
There were 100% some
every...
magical societies that shunned women. This is a thing you experienced.
Oh yeah, it's not uncommon. But to say every woman everywhere is viewed equally and treated equally.
Not everywhere. Some countries still have different standards, but most of the world.
This is. Speaking of that, where in the world am I? If I'm trying to think of like where my kingdom was, well, like what are some of the names of like some of the big kingdoms that
you
were?
You would have been somewhere in Europe. Actually, yeah, you would have been in your own kingdom, your own micronation in Europe.
Yeah. I kind of assumed that the wizards lived in sort of something like city-states.
Yeah, basically.
And they basically they kind of like having like the city-state of a wizard in your kingdom was considered a good thing.
Yeah, depending on some people hated them.
Yeah, of course. So like what was like the kingdom in which Roland his city was in?
You existed at the intersection of the kingdom of sorry, I'm just looking up things.
At some point, Jenna's gonna be like, I will rejoin this conversation shortly. I'm gonna get me a cup of coffee. And she's gonna stand up and walk out of the little bubble and go up to the counter.
Yeah. So...
To be right back.
You stood at the intersection of the kingdoms of... Hang on. I'm just trying to find, some names real quick. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Come on. The intersection of Oberstan and Tegria and Latveria. Those were three fairly large kingdoms.
Okay, I'm not gonna be repeating those three names.
Yeah, you're just gonna say those were the ones you knew of.
Yeah. My wizard city was situated in between those three. Picking one over the other would have led to too many political problems, and
right.
They kept quiet.
Oof. The good thing those were really important in history.
Well, they were. At the time, they were the strongest outside of the Everdon Empire.
Oberstan doesn't exist anymore. They fell during the Second Grand War. Or Second Great War.
Great War.
And Latveria is... both of those exist across the Atlantic Ocean. Or not the Atlantic Ocean, sorry. What was the fictionalized ocean name I had? Across the... Hang on. I'm trying to look at my lore again. Across the... Where is it? There we go. Across the Plan Ocean. Which, that jumps out to you. There is no land at the other end of the Palan Ocean.
You're pulling my leg, right?
Oh,
We're past the end
Colin.
of the world. Nothing exists
Yeah.
past that ocean.
So, in your time, nobody ever crossed that ocean, but there is a whole another continent. The planet's round. This is something you knew. That doesn't come as shocking knowledge.
Planet's always been round.
Okay, good. They weren't from time when people thought it was flat. Or it's
No,
worth noting,
those
scholars knew it was round. Like ignorant people thought it was flat.
there were people who were insisting that the world was flat, but with mages around, I mean, astronomy and that I guess with
Yeah, we still have that problem now,
all
actually.
of us gone, with every mage, or at least most mages gone, what sort of makes sense? There was such a massive vacuum of power, knowledge lost.
Yeah, but so you're in the what's colloquially known as the New World, although people don't really use that word much anymore. We're
So the new world is no longer new.
what?
The new world is no longer new. is what I was saying.
Exactly. It was found a couple centuries ago, in the 17th century, I think. 16th century? God,
If we're talking about the 1700s, it's the 16th century.
Yeah. I'm playing this guy out. He was like 17th century, 16th century. It's been too long since I took history courses. We're in the United Colonies, which is a one of the largest nations.
Oh wait, no, I was incorrect.
Hmm?
The 1700s are considered the 18th century.
Wait, what?
The 1700s are considered the 18th century.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yes.
Century.
That makes sense.
18th century. It's a
Yeah, because we're in the 21st. Oh, yep. That makes sense.
Yep.
Initially, I was like, that makes no sense, and then it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, no, of course that makes sense.
That's why the 1800s are the 19th century.
Yep. But yeah, he says,
Ma'am, are you going to pick up your coffee or not?
yeah. The waitress walks over and you realize they've been calling for your coffee at the counter for the last several minutes, but you're still in the bubble of silence.
No, I stayed at the fucking counter, grabbed my coffee, and walked back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you for coming to Fart Fucks.
That is not the name. That is not the name.
Should be.
Hang on. Music froze up again.
Oh, no, you are just having problems with that music.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for coming to Drunken
I think it's a new
Donuts.
thing YouTube is doing to stop people from farming views on a video. If a video replays too many times, it freezes it.
Oh.
Which makes sense. But yeah, he's like, so I guess you're gonna want a crash course in history for a rough understanding, huh? Get ready, viewers. This is gonna be the most context you get on world lore in a long time.
Yes, I would. Just let's keep it brief because I have no money, and if magic doesn't exist, my normal methods of money making are now completely unavailable.
Money?
So, where you come from is known as the Dark Ages, because it was a period of cultural regression after the fall of the Everdon Empire in the continent of Duggerland.
If anything, I'd say we were flourishing without those bastards lording over us.
Well, a lot of the knowledge we have indicates that there was a Dark Age, as we said. In the latter half of the Dark Age, hang on, that's not important. The Dark Ages went for quite some time until the Age of Discovery began, when people began to create better boats and international trade began and the New World was discovered, which is where we are now. This country in particular was made up of a collection of colonies formed that then unified and overthrew the rulership of their king, and we formed our own independent nation, the United Colonies of the New World. Sometime after that, an event known as the Industrial Revolution occurred, and that's when the whole world would have changed, for your perspective. We discovered how to harness electricity using steam engines. Basically, if you boil water, you can use the steam to turn a turbine, and that can make machines move.
I assume a turbine is something similar to a windmill.
It's exactly like a windmill. We basically made man-made windmills where by boiling water we made our own wind. And that's how all machines worked for a long time, until we discovered how to harness electricity. Don't ask me how we learned to do that, but we did.
Man-made windmills? Aren't all windmills man-made?
Man-made
literally was
wind.
about to say
Sorry, I meant man-made wind. The steam is like man-made wind.
Interesting.
And so we make machines that move, and everything works on those same premises just by creating the energy through different ways. Like, cars work through combustion engines, which instead of doing steam, are tiny controlled explosions made using oil. And that caused everything in the world to begin to advance to what it is, and we've had 2 grand wars, and we had the superhero war, and now we're at the present day.
Okay.
Oh god, you don't know what a superhero is.
Well, hold on. Let's take a couple steps. You spoke about combustion engines, and you said they used what exactly?
Oil.
Tiny explosions
Yeah.
with oil.
What is oil?
It's black liquid that comes from the ground. It's, oh god, you don't know what a dinosaur is.
Wait, wouldn't they have oil? Didn't they used to, like, pour it on people?
Yeah, they had, like, olive oil and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Hold on.
Tar? I think the best way to put it would be something like tar.
Yeah, it's a black liquid that is found in the earth that is very flammable. It's another natural resource, without going too into detail of the science of it. It's very expensive. We refine it into different materials like gasoline and diesel and oil, crude oil. And pretty much everything in our world is made using oil or steel. You've never heard of steel. I don't think steel existed in your time. Actually, hang on. When was steel invented? Let me Google that real fast.
I think a version of steel existed then.
When was steel
13th
invented?
century BC.
Yeah, so steel did not exist yet for you.
BC.
BC. Never mind.
BC.
You're right.
13th
Never
century
mind.
BC.
Never mind. Yep. So you know what steel is. Yeah. Pretty much everything in our world is made using oil and steel.
Do I? Okay. So it says the Chinese discovered oil in 600 BC, and then it doesn't say anything about when Europe.
I think Europe had a very crude usage of oil, but like I don't think it would have been common enough for you to care much about it.
Yeah.
At least not the oil we think of.
Yeah.
But yeah. This is basically a way for you to ask questions and learn the lore of this setting.
Fun fact, stainless steel wasn't invented until 1913.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pretty much everything in this world is made using either oil or steel.
Sometimes
So you guys took what we made for weaponry and that useless black substance that came out of the ground and revolutionized civilization.
Basically. A lot of the hard work was done by people over in Duggerland, but a lot of things were invented here in the United Colonies as well.
I'm impressed at human ingenuity without aid of magic, I must say. I am impressed.
I'm gonna regret saying this a lot. I'm gonna regret this so much. Do you need a place to live?
Absolutely. Until I can construct a domicile of my standards.
That does not work that way anymore. You can live with me.
What do you mean?
You can't just build anywhere. All land is owned by some government, and you have to buy or rent out land from the government or other people. There is no unowned land, really, anymore on the planet.
Oh,
Interesting.
wait until he hears about flushable toilets.
Oh yeah, God.
Indoor flushable toilets.
Yeah, we have plumbing. We can.
Explore.
I'll show you when you get to my house. It's pretty.
Hold on, I'm looking at when were toilets invented.
Oh,
The first modern flushable toilet was invented in 1590.
My guy's an actual fucking peasant, dude. Oh no.
What?
Yeah, the first modern
toilets were invented.
Yeah, you would have shat in a bucket and had servants transported away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or according to J.K. Rowling, he pooped in holes and made it disappear with magic.
No, they pooped in their hat and made it disappear with magic. They pooped in their fucking hat.
Silly me.
I hate J.K. Rowling.
Latrines.
Yeah. But, he's like,
Anyway. Dude, you should have him watch Kung
Okay,
Fu
wait.
Panda. Have that be the first movie he ever watches.
Did Roland exist when that, when the Everdon Empire existed, which is equivalent to ancient Rome?
they would have had plumbing, but you would have had zero understanding of it.
So, Roland wouldn't have had plumbing? Or wouldn't have...
No one in the Middle Ages had plumbing. That's why it's called the Dark Age. We regressed in technology massively.
Man, we suck.
Yeah,
I shit in a shack, dude.
He's like the average person in our world lives similar to what you would think of as a king living. At least I would presume. But there's new struggles that have come up in their place. Actually, you know, when I put it that way, when I put things that way, I suddenly feel a lot less bad about my life. 800 years ago, I would have been living like a king. Hell, the knowledge I have probably would have revolutionized things. Man, you know, talking with you suddenly made me feel a lot better about my life.
Well, Colin, as a king, I led a great many people.
You were
led a great many endeavors. And I lost it all and gave up everything to save it.
You're a king? He's like now like leaning back, hands in his face. What the fuck?
That's cool.
Any wizard worth his salt was a king of some sort.
So, you're a wizard king from before the Crusades, and you've been gained immortality and lived in another dimension, and you are now back on Earth to learn?
Yes, magic, actually. Considering your complete and utter lack of knowing anything about magic, and from what I could tell when I first arrived, the complete lack of magic besides maybe seemingly that which is innate in others is a struggle in of itself.
Yeah, no, magic, as far as anyone's concerned, has never existed. It's a thing of children's stories.
Also, Jenna's about to ruin Colin's day. She's gonna look at Sir Folk and go, "Oh, you've got immortality too?"
And he just turns his head to you slowly. Are you a superhero?
She does a sort of so-so motion with her hand.
Really casually just talking about that, huh? Okay, cool. Cool.
I mean, no one else can hear us.
Fair.
May I...
This is one hell of a day.
About the methods and means of your immortality? Does it have certain restrictions? Does it have, I'm not asking of ways to bypass it, but I'm a researcher. I've been researching for 800 years. Okay.
Well, I don't really know how I got it. Really, it just kind of the light show that I gave you earlier was the power that I was most accustomed to. Only found out about the healing thing later in life. But from what I can tell, any, or at least most from what I no. Most injuries that I sustain, my body just heals automatically before it can kill me.
Interesting. So, regenerative sort of immortality. But I assume I assume you can't like regrow a limb.
I don't know. I haven't tried.
I didn't. Maybe best not to. But
Oh.
all right, it's got a phone call.
I'm assuming that I caught a metal pipe to the skull once, and my skull is not, it doesn't have holes in it, so I would assume. Maybe?
Interesting. So I feel like Sir Folk has his Book of Shadows. Can I, on top of being able to record spells, can I just be able to like
Yeah, you can
write
just jot down
and
notes in
stuff?
it.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just like, Sir Folk takes out this like, what does it look like actually?
You have a quill, a black quill that never runs out of ink, and the
Right.
book. I'll let you pick what your magical tome looks like.
So completely black, with a kind of like thick, coarse leather. It's not extravagant or anything. But on the center, there's basically the
The symbol
magical
of the alpha
symbol.
stigma.
Yeah, the symbol that's in his eye, the alpha stigma, is on it, and
Oh
in
yeah,
such a way, yeah,
go ahead.
where it
You
means like
finish.
I guess like only he can open and like understand and read it. Everything else, if anybody else is able to open it and read it, read as like
Yeah, the book
gibberish.
can only be opened by you, and it's sort of written in like a code that only you understand.
Yeah, it's something that the alpha stigma basically lets me translate into something
Yeah,
sensible.
because you know every language, you're able to just like make squiggles, and you basically made your own language to write your things in to keep it
Yep.
hidden.
It's more like I put the meaning of what each word meant in the squiggles, and then alpha stigma picks that up and turns it into understood.
Yeah. But yeah, so you pull out the book and start to write in it. Is that like your wizard's book?
Yes and no. It is a collection of notes to allow me to remember spells, but it is also a connection to my patron and a magical gift from her, if you would call it that.
Patron?
A wizard with a patron.
Well, one doesn't save his kingdom from demise without giving something up, as well as basically every other wizard king. We all signed the same deal.
So what, you made a deal with the devil?
No, never a demon. Please, I know better. I signed it with a fae.
Like a fairy?
The Fae?
If
Like gnomes and
fairies are
fairies, like
kind of
old
fae,
folklore.
but I'm not quite sure I would refer to them all as fairies. The fae are reflections of this plane,
If magic is
both
a
good
thing
and
that...
bad.
Oh god, so...
Most likely, all things that exist in your fairy tales.
Are some way
it's based
true,
on
yeah. So there was
Yeah.
probably actually a King Arthur, and there was probably a Merlin, and there was probably Hercules
Again-
and all of that. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah, Hercules. Yes, he most definitely is.
Heracles.
Oh.
Unless we're talking about the Roman one, which that's Hercules.
What about the different faiths? They're gonna conflict. I wonder which ones are real then. God, why can't I just go back to not believing in any of this? Oh man. Oh.
Well, how about this, Colin? You aid me. Oh, sorry. How about this, Colin Johnson? You aid me in understanding this new world, and I can aid you in understanding what was lost.
Yeah, it's just gonna be,
And
it's a lot.
Folk is gonna like hold out his hand for Colin.
I'm not gonna shake your hand because I've seen enough horror movies about weird demons and magical stuff that I don't want to sign some sort of soul contract by accident.
I'm
Well, I
not
mean,
that kind.
Mm.
I don't think.
Okay, I'll shake your hand for him.
What?
Who used fate powers?
So you reach out and shake the guy's hand, or shake
Yeah,
Stigma's hand?
Jim was just like, fuck it, I'll shake
No.
your hand for him.
So on that note, Ollie, does that? I didn't think about it at all. Does that
No, you
make
cannot sign any kind of fey bond.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't think I could, but I figured it'd be kind of funny if I could do it to somebody just on accident.
Yeah, that'd be very. Just Raven Queen appears. The seal has been bound. Nah, you can't do that.
That's fine. Maybe eventually. That'd be a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
So, do you have more questions to help get you settled into society and reality? You have not drunk your coffee yet. You realize it's been sitting in front of you.
Oh yeah. Is it cold?
It's you hold the side of styrofoam cup and it feels room temperature.
I mean, I honestly, yeah, this is probably the hottest I've had most ever drinks ever, so I'm gonna drink it as is.
It is
I don't understand.
still warm and hot. It's still incredibly warm. Well, you would have had warm beverages from like boiling water.
Yeah, but I assume like they you know you gotta let the boiling water stuff cool down. And I assume the standards of like thermal insulation just are not the same.
Words. But so this
magic exists.
This coffee is like one of those Starbucks ass coffees full of cream and sugar. So like this is like, yeah, and you came from royalty, but I don't imagine you were a very decadent royal, right?
No. So we never really talked about like how Sir Folk like came into power, and I assume like each bearer of the Alpha Stigma did different things, and
Yeah,
like eventually would take on a student or something. But I imagine like the kingdom that Roland was is something that Sir Folk built himself. It's not something that came from his predecessors.
All right. Wait, the kingdom that who came from?
Roland, the Sir Folk, the one that he was defending and built, and like was the king of it, all that.
Roland?
Yes, that's what I've been calling it the entire time.
Oh, his first name is Roland. Okay, I don't think that came.
No.
Wait, what? Oh, the kingdom is Roland?
The name of the kingdom.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I'm dumb. Somehow that went over my head. Yeah, so you established it. I like to think this was established as like a unification of different like I like to think your city was like the wizards city.
Yeah.
The city built for wizards to learn and teach. And it's like a thing you established. Yeah, I like the sound of that. And so you were less of like a traditional king and acted more like a university professor if we were to put it in modern context. But that being said, you were invited to political events and tried various like sweets. This is amongst the sweetest treats you've ever had, with a bitter undertone, and it's weird, like crazy invigorating.
Let's be real. If it's a Starbucks drink, it's mostly bitter.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some pretty sweet Starbucks drinks.
Yeah, they make ones that are basically like a milkshake.
Yeah.
The coffee I've gotten from there has been just bitter with a little bit of sweet.
Unless you request it to be very sweet, it usually tastes like garbage. Coffee. You're right.
It tastes like strong coffee.
Yeah, this just you're correct. That that's star point for you, Sheebs. It tastes bitter and gross. The drink when you sip it.
Well, that depends unless he likes.
The guy would have just gotten you a box standard coffee with sugar, with a little bit of sugar and cream. So, how you react to a bitter coffee, it tastes like low-quality coffee by our standards. How does your character react?
I'm gonna roll a d20. Find out. He likes it, kind of.
Comes on the spot.
He's gonna drink some of it and goes, "That is very interesting flavor. but not the worst.
Oh,
I
Now-
assume they're better than this, though, right?
Now,
yeah.
if he tried Jenna's coffee, that would be on the sweeter
Yeah.
side.
He's like, oh, yeah, right. Coffee isn't really a thing you drink for the taste. It gives you energy.
Well, the energy I can definitely feel.
Yeah.
I don't know about
definitely
that. I
use
like the taste of mine.
all nights. See why people like this.
Mhm. Mana
So-
from the gods. That's what Tristan just typed in our chat,
I-
mana from the
Two
gods.
other real questions I needed to ask. Is there some method for me to gain access to a lot of knowledge very quickly? And
There's the
B,
library
And the internet.
and the
make
internet.
money? Okay, so I understand what a library is, and that might be a great place to start. What is the internet?
Oh god, why did I bring that? Okay. He
Just wait
puts
till he
da-
hears about library cards.
he puts down his phone and he's like, this is a phone. A smartphone.
This is the device you are using to speak to no one and then to tap at.
So phones were made a couple decades ago, and they're a thing that lets you talk over a long distance.
Oh, so like scrying portals or something.
Sure, yeah. I don't exactly know how a phone works, actually, but a phone lets you talk over distance, and a mobile phone, I do know how they work, kind of. They've become more common, because original phones were connected to the wall and had to use wires to communicate, string. You don't know what a wire is. They use string to communicate, metal string. That's what a wire is. Mobile phones send out radio waves. They send out oh god, how do I? You know, it really does sound like magic when you describe it this way. They send out special waves to satellites that we have in space. Then send
Focus
those
on-
messages back down.
It's gonna look back down in space.
Yeah, oh god, there's a lot of context for how these things work. Just roll with what I'm saying for now.
Wait a minute.
Hmm?
Actually, he would know what steel wire is because like metal wire dates back like as far back as
Oh, yeah.
4000
Well,
BC.
but the way this guy is wording it, he's just... This guy doesn't know the entire pedantics and details of history. It's just the way he's wording things. It's up to
Ooh,
Sleepy
little
if you think his
detail.
character would know
That's
things.
kind of cool.
But yeah, the guy's just like, we have buildings in space that we send up there that have nobody in them, that their entire job is to pick up signals from these, as he points at the phone, and then send them to another phone. Every phone has a number assigned to it, and if you put the number of another phone into your phone, you connect to it, and you can talk to anybody. That's how the earliest mobile phones worked, and smartphones work on that, but they also do more.
What more do you need than instant communication from anywhere? That must make wars and all kinds of things so much easier.
Oh, yeah, war was revolutionized by radio technology. But you can do more than that, and he turns it on, and he unlocks his phone, he's like, this is the internet, as he taps a little button and brings up a web browser. What do we want to call it? What do we want to call the internet? Ooh, or the web browser that is used.
Dongle.
Dongle. I like that. I like that. He opens up his dongle web browser.
I don't know. What am I looking at? It's just displaying text. Dongle?
So,
Is this a term?
this dongle is a search engine. You can type any question into this, and it will give you every answer anybody has ever given to that question onto it. It is
Yeah,
like
but
a pocket-sized library, but I will say,
you gotta be
anybody,
careful.
yeah, anybody can put information on it, so people can
Not-
lie on it.
Yeah, not just that, but now they're using AI.
Oh,
So sometimes the AI will answer you.
please don't try and tell him about AI. We are explaining enough to him already.
What's AI? No. No.
Oh,
You may think I'm too delicate for these advanced topics. He's going to put air quotes.
artificial
The
intelligence.
AI is artificial intelligence.
So something like a mana spirit or something essential, similar to that.
I don't know what a
I-
mana
I
spirit
think-
is.
A consciousness you basically grown or manifested through mana.
It's
Kind of, yeah.
it's a computer
So,
that we're
or if I-
taught to
okay,
think.
okay. If I replace mana with your electricity, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's an electrical spirit. So the way
See?
that those work is they connect to this, the internets and the Google search or the dongle searches, and they learn everything they can, and then they use that to try and be intelligent, but they're kind of hit and miss sometimes because people can lie on the internet, and we can read something and tell if it's a blatant lie. The AI can't. It just takes everything at face value and assumes everything is true. And so they're gullible, and they sometimes give wrong information. So don't trust AI. Not right now. They're not smart enough yet.
Mm-mm.
Well, I assume you have official books. What segments, sections?
The best
What are
place
they
for
called?
information. He turns it around and he types, and he's like, the best place for information is the Library of Babel, as he opens that up and turns it around. And you recognize the term Babel has the Tower of Babel being an ancient mythic structure that angered the gods.
Babel? It does exist?
Uh,
It shouldn't anymore.
it's named after the myth.
Oh, right.
So-
Apologies.
Oh,
Interesting you still know of Babel.
This is
But
this
not
world's
of-
equivalent of Wikipedia for your context, Jeebs.
okay. Oh, and if you want to learn more about history, there's like dozens of museums across the two cities.
Oh yeah. You don't know what a
Two
museum.
cities.
A museum is a building built specifically to house ancient things, old
Ancient
things.
artifacts.
So like a display room in some noble's mansion.
Exactly, but for public
Kind
access.
of, but there's more information than I would assume most nobles were giving to their possessions.
So
The
actual
artifacts are-
information and open to the general populace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do they not fear people stealing these? Because many of these are, I assume, there's no more magical artifacts, and so there's only historical, perhaps.
Yeah, and a lot of them are heavily guarded because there are people who want to steal them and sell them.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And some museums you do have to pay to get in, but most of them you can walk in.
And usually the money is more so meant to help keep the building running.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's
Interesting.
state-funded ones, which those are the ones that are free to go into, but they do accept donations.
Okay.
Hmm.
Power still seems fairly the same.
Hmm.
With you said you have things in the sky sending
Satellites.
messages back.
Satellites.
So, and knowing that you guys know that the world is round and that information isn't lost, do you perhaps have a map or something? Because I still
Let me bring up
see
Dongle
where I am.
Maps. And he opens Dongle Maps and shows you a map of the world. Which
Oh,
you only
can you show me
knew
where we are?
the area that in our world is the equivalent of Europe and the Mediterranean, which in this
Right.
world is known as the Atlantis Sea and Doggerland. That's the region you know.
And while he's pulling up dongle maps, Jenna's fishing around through her bag. And she pulls out something, opens it, and she's like, "No, I just have a map of the city."
And if you look in the lore section of our chat and scroll high enough, you can see a map of the world. And I'm just gonna copy and paste it into our current chat.
Like Jenna was trying to, but then she pulls the map back out. Actually, the map of the city might be useful to you, so you don't get lost.
Yeah. So this is a good general view of the world, as he shows you on the thing. And you see where the Little Hero Infinite symbol is on the map?
Yeah.
That's where you guys are right now, when he points out. So, you knew, the world you knew, is the area labeled as Doggerland?
Yeah.
You knew the region of like Duggerland and the sea just south of it and its coastlines. You knew there was places to the east and the south. You just didn't really know what their layout were.
Right.
And he's showing you basically Google Maps and showing you this.
So this is the entirety of our world.
Yep, the entire planet. And we are, and he starts to zoom in, and he's like, oh, this is the city, and this, you can see he moves his fingers on it zooms in, and he eventually is like, and that's the building we're in right now. And he zooms it back out a little so you can see the city layout.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
How many cities like this exist now?
Oh, like hundreds of thousands.
All over the world.
I assumed that this was some sort of beacon of knowledge and innovation. But this is just another city.
It's just another city.
By most standards of the United Colonies, New Justice is considered a little bit of a shithole.
Justice City.
Yeah, sorry. Justice City is considered a little bit of a shithole.
I have a question of my own.
I was gonna kind of lean back. Yes, go ahead.
Well, you wouldn't know this, but I do have questions for you. But is New Liberty smaller or bigger than?
Oh, that's you asking me.
No, that's Jenna asking in character.
Oh, okay. He looks at you.
She doesn't know.
I think they're about the same size. As he looks.
Are they?
I have another map that is a more zoomed in one. Let me find that and show it to you. Hang on.
Huh.
Sorry, chat. I'm not showing these maps.
Maybe it's just because I live there, but New Liberty seems so small.
Actually, in many people's regards, New Liberty is viewed as bigger. If you want context on scale, viewers, Justice City is roughly equivalent to Boston, and New Liberty is roughly equivalent to New York City. Yeah,
but to her, since she's lived there her entire life, it seems small.
He's like, I'm pretty sure it's bigger.
Is it? It doesn't feel like it.
I mean, it's literally known as the big city. As like, when people say big city, that's the city they think of. What do you mean? How the guy's just looking at you like you have two heads.
I've lived there my entire life.
Fair.
It seems small to me because I've lived there literally my whole life.
Yeah, no, that city is, I'm pretty sure, definitely bigger.
Maybe I just need to get out more.
So, tell me, I was sent here to investigate, but seemingly there's nothing worth investigating.
He blinks at you and he's like, sure, I guess. I mean, you don't think any of this is worth knowing?
Well, no, that's not what I mean. All of this is worth knowing, but again, I was sent on a specific mission, and I fear I may have. She wouldn't have just put me here for no reason. There's something in this city, and I'm just trying to understand what she wants me
supposed to be looking for.
And I don't know. Something magical in nature, I suppose. She told me times changed, and
so I always assumed magic wasn't real.
Wait, but I'm thinking.
Well,
he said that I have innate magic. Could superheroes be innately magical? Could he be looking for superheroes?
Maybe. So like, that's the thing. If magic does exist and it just got lost, then there probably is a lot more magic around us than we realize. Maybe those fortune tellers, scam artists, some of them are real. Maybe magicians in the City of Sin, maybe some of them really are magicians. But that's gonna, I guess, be the hard part, is distinguishing the real from the fake now.
Well, No magic can hide from my gaze, so such a thing simply can't happen.
Brother, did you just say you're one of them gays? I can't let you live with me anymore.
it.
I'm kidding. He did not say that. He's like,
Fireball!
I guess I can start taking you to magic shows. Hang on, hang on. I just thought of something. How are we talking? If you're a time traveler from 800 years ago in the middle of Duggerland, how the hell do you know American English? Or sorry, not American English. United Colony English.
Do I know that my alpha stigma gives me this ability?
Yes.
I'm simply that good of a mage.
Simply one hell of a
Sure, I'll
butler.
accept that. Why not? I'll sure.
I can read and understand any language, magical, written or unwritten.
Any language?
Any language?
He's gonna take his phone, he's gonna fiddle on it for a moment, and he's
Any
gonna
language?
hold it up and show you a picture of like an ancient tablet, and you can just like read it no problem.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say whatever it says.
You lean forward, it looks like it's a angry letter or an angry message complaining about low quality copper.
You bitch!
That's so fucking funny. I know exactly about it. And yes, some commoner back in ye olden days, before my time even, it looks like, complaining about low quality copper and their trade.
Huh.
Why are you showing me this? I thought it was of some importance.
I was really just testing. He's like, so you can just read anything.
Wait. So you technically would know Latin?
I don't know what Latin is. Do I actually? Would I know what Latin is?
You would not.
I don't.
Wait, what?
Latin, I assume.
How old
Really
is
good
Latin?
question. When
How old is the Latin language?
was Latin first spoke?
From the 7th century
7th
BC.
century BCE.
6th century before Christ is the earliest form.
Yep. So he would
You would have
likely
heard
know
of the
what
term
Latin is.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I don't fucking know Latin, but Falk knows Latin, so he's just gonna belt out some shit in Latin.
Oh my god, he does know Latin.
It's an old language even by my book, but
Yeah, it's,
It's not just an old language now. It's people are calling it a dead language.
Latin is a ancient language, but it's still kept important in the sciences because scientists use Latin for some reason. You've never heard the term scientist, Sleepy.
scientists.
Those are people who study the world.
The nature of everything around us.
I guess they're
So
the modern
cool.
equivalent of a wizard. But they don't know magic.
The wizard without the cool powers.
I assume science is the term for your version of magicless magic. Science.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, why
And
did it
so
change
scientists
songs?
are those. So basically, scientists are to science as to wizards are to magic.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
And there's different fields of science.
Oh!
Biologists
Different fields.
study the body, engineers study machines, astrologists study space.
You would probably know science, Mr. or Sir Folk.
Yes.
You would probably know science as something called natural philosophy.
Tree huggers.
I cannot believe you have that term in your time. Wow. That was... That,
Interesting.
that really feels like a more modern term than you should know.
Look, there's always. It seems like throughout time, there's always people who just are really into trees.
Yeah. Actually, we need more of those in our time right now. We're facing a global environmental crisis. I'm sorry, I'm dropping a lot on you again, huh?
That is
You know how I
impressive.
mentioned we're using
I
those
have an
oils?
understanding of what those words mean. Oh, so you're saying? Wait, hold on. Continue. You said something about oil. What about it?
Yeah, those oils we've been burning. We discovered about hundreds of years after the fact that they're having a negative impact on the environment. When we burn
It's
it,
doing bad shit.
when we burn it, the smoke gets into the air and it gets stuck in the air, and it makes the whole planet hotter. To put it in a very simplistic term.
So we're getting slow roasted, and I was brought back to investigate magic in a non-magical world.
People are trying to fix it, but some people aren't.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't necessarily call the world non-magical.
Yeah, I mean, she's right here. But as far as anyone's concerned, magic doesn't exist.
I assume there has to be small enclaves of wizards somewhere, but
Maybe hidden away.
I am far weaker than I'm used to being. And again, yes, hidden away in some corner of the world I know not. And I'm in a land completely foreign to all of my knowledge. That's okay, because I no longer have to sit in that room. I can drink coffee. Well, alright. On, I guess.
Well, I already called off work. He stretches low. You want to get a burger and see what running water is?
Sure.
And he looks to you. And you, Supergirl, why'd you come
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here?
Well, we'll have to discuss the super hero thing, because heroes existed. I was considered a hero, but it seems you're speaking in a different way.
You all want to go to Burger Bunny and get some food and we can talk more there, because I'm hungry.
I'm starving, so I would
So
love to.
you guys begin walking down the road, and he's like, alright, so superheroes and heroes is a whole thing. I read a lot about this in school because it interested me, so I can be a little more informative, I guess.
Oh, we love someone well learned.
The term hero, in a modern sense, began with the First Grand War. The First Grand War, at the time just known as the Grand War or the Great War, began, so at a point in around the 17 or hang on, when did I'm trying to remember years and dates in our real life.
As
When was
like
World
as
War
Colin was telling,
Early 1900s.
I was googling. Yeah.
You need to know about them.
as Colin is like telling Holt this, he's like writing this down in his this book of shadows.
I was
You know, and he's annotating things like the Grand War, the First
Yeah.
Great War, Great
And
War.
you're able
know,
to
he's
freely
editing this
move
stuff
words
for him
on your
to-
page to make it to reformat because of the magic of your book.
Can Jenna see this happening? Like, not she doesn't understand what's being written, but can she see the fucking words moving?
If
No.
he's doing it. Or did you say no?
I was gonna say no, but no, that's fine.
Well, they would be able to see it, but people can see it, but no one can read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just
It looks like a
like
bunch of scribbles that I'm rearranging.
yeah.
Oh wow, it's like a tablet.
Folks, I'm gonna write tablet down question mark. I'm gonna like throw that off to the
Yeah.
side somewhere.
I think phone, like the
Phone, but
smartphones that we
bigger.
showed you, but bigger.
Gonna pull it back, bigger phone. Throw it back off to the side.
But he's like, so around the 1900s, the world had become mostly discovered and known, and nations began to take up all of the world, and because there was nowhere else to grow, there was this tension that people would start fighting in order to get more land, nations. And so a lot of peace treaties started getting signed, people agreeing to not fight each other, and if anybody fought you, we'd help you. And these peace treaties kept building up, especially well with the empires that existed across Duggerland. And what ended up happening is an important king got assassinated. Or a czar, I should say. Which you would immediately understand the word king, or czar is another word for king, essentially.
Yeah.
He got assassinated by a group calling themselves the Black Hand, and the First Grand War broke out. His death caused one war to break out, which forced all of these peace treaties to initiate, and a bunch of people were forced to help each other fight. And almost the entire world got wrapped up in this. It was primarily focused in the region of Duggerland, but because these empires held land around the world, their colonies also went to war with each other, as people fought over land and over these peace treaties. And during this war, certain soldiers proved to be uniquely talented. They stood out amongst their peers, and it's sorry, I'm looking at the Unified Kingdom, which was one of the people fighting, were the ones to start the trend of labeling their greatest fighters as heroes. A hero would be given a completely custom designed for themselves military uniform to help them stand out in the battlefield, and be given positions of importance due to their skill and talent. These heroes became an important piece of morality and a calling card in battlefields, something people would rally behind and would be in the news. And that was, many people call that the golden age of heroes. Then, when the war began to wind down in the 1920s, and we entered an era of peace, here in the United Colonies, prohibition was declared. All alcohol and gambling was made illegal. That led to a massive... What?
That foolish decision. You never get away with Palmer's two favorite things.
Exactly. That led to a huge spike in crime, as people illegally transported and made alcohol and created illegal gambling halls. And to counteract that, a lot of the veteran heroes decided to don their old military uniforms and go and fight crime. And this inspired other people who never fought in war to do the same. Individuals like the old hero, the Ritz, went and fought against these criminals, many of them donning masks to hide their identity so that the criminals wouldn't seek retribution. People have started to call this the Silver Age of heroes in retrospect. And then we had the Bronze Age of heroes. And that came with the Second Grand War. The Second Grand War started when the nation of Latveria turned to fascism and began to try and invade other places around them to rebuild their once grand...
I know the Kingdom of Latveria.
The Kingdom of Latveria is from your time. It was one of the larger contending kingdoms they were a very big kingdom in your time.
So one of those giants was still around.
Well, during the First Grand War, they shrunk dramatically. They lost a lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to a lot of political dissidents, and a revolutionist came in and they declared fascism, which is a standard of government that has very little freedoms, and it's not very popular anymore, fascism.
More like a tyrant, I suppose.
Exactly.
It seems like your modern political systems favor very heavily towards multiple people in power.
Yes, and the insurance of personal freedom.
Yeah.
There was a lot of revolutions during the 17th and 18th century that made that, for most of the world, more in vogue.
Yeah.
It all started right here, actually. We were one of the first nations to shrug off the bounds of a king.
I'll keep my opinion to that to myself.
But during the Second Grand War, governments immediately wanting to make sure people are on board went out of their way to make people heroes. And that ended up being very unpopular because the heroes of the first Grand War came about naturally. They were people who were really good in their position and were given the title. But in the Second Grand War, the government just branded people heroes and set them off on propaganda campaigns.
Mm.
And that, for a lot of people, is viewed... That's why it's often viewed as the Bronze Age of heroes. It's when the average hero died. But it was soon followed by the Golden Age of superheroes. During the Second Grand War, there was this push to advance soldiers, to make them better, to make them stronger. And the United Colonies would make the first ever super soldier serum. A drug, or, a potion, I guess, would be what you would understand it as. It's a special liquid that they injected into soldiers to make them stronger, faster, think better. It made the super soldiers, or as people began calling them, superheroes. They were successfully created right as the Grand War ended. They actually never even touched down in the Doggerland front of the war. The first ever superheroes went and fought over in the nation of Nippon. But what followed was known as the Hero Wars. See, the world very quickly divided into two after the Second Grand War. Everyone wanted to be unified. Nobody liked the war that happened. So, us in the West, in the New World, formed the Global Defense Initiative. An initiative dedicated to ensuring democratic rule across the world. So, democratic nations signed up to join and contribute financial support towards a unified military, and the continued study of super soldiers, and to help try and instill democratic rule in other countries. Meanwhile, the large chunks of the Eastern world leaned more on a system known as communism. So, a democracy is a system where people vote into power leaders, and those leaders come together and pass laws that affect people. While a communist system, on paper, claims to have no leader. Everybody is the leader, everybody's in charge, and everybody has a say. But then communism assigned people to collect everybody's opinion, and they became dictators. Because if you're the one collecting the information, you're able to lie about what that information is.
Interesting. So you guys took the Republican ideals of... What's the equivalent of the Greece people? The Greek.
Oh man, what would be the Olympians? I think would be the equivalent, and that's what I'm gonna call it.
Mostly, let's say, the ideologies of the Olympians, and applied them differently. That's interesting. Still less effective than a good king, but
well, but the issue is a bad king can ruin everything.
Yeah, and we kind of fought to get rid of our old king.
The king that the new United Colonies rose up against had massively increased our taxes to the point where common goods were costing more than people could afford.
yeah, I mean, that'll do it. I've seen, many kingdoms have come and fallen over very similar things.
And that's why people prefer democracy, where if a leader if you don't like the leader in charge, you can just put a new person in charge who will hopefully do better. But, so what happened was the Global Defense Initiative and the Communist Alliance began to not fight each other, but they began invading countries that weren't part of either one. The communists trying to instill communist governments, GDI trying to instill democratic governments. and they would send the super soldiers in, and this was the golden age of heroes. You couldn't go 2 days without hearing in the news that 2 heroes had clashed in another nation, fighting to, still instill liberty. But as it went on, people began to grow more disdain for their governments and for these wars, and became weary of them. And especially once the communist nations of the world began to fall to revolution, people began to question the necessity for superheroes anymore. And they began to question the idea of invading other nations and enforcing your ideal on them. And then the government began to use the superheroes as a police force. This began what's widely known as the Silver Age of Heroes. And the big push of what caused this controversy was the discovery of mind-opening drugs. Much how the government had created serums that gave people enhanced ability, a number of chemists here in the United Colonies who weren't working for the government discovered ingestible drugs that opened people's minds and gave some of them superpowers. We began to have people pop up who, just through taking these drugs, not being part of the government, could have strength or telekinetic powers. Not as strong as government super soldiers, but it existed. And the government did not like that. They labeled these people as super villains, said that to take a unregulated drug to give you powers might be dangerous for you or those around you, and began to regulate and put laws against these drugs. And it wasn't unwarranted. Some people took these drugs and then used them to commit crimes, but a lot of people felt it was taking away our rights. Why was the government allowed to make superpowers but we weren't? And that led to the countercultural movement of the 60s and 70s and the start of the Silver Age of Heroes. And many people say we're currently in the Bronze Age of superheroes. About 20 years ago, a terrorist organization known as Cobra staged an attack on United Colony soil, the largest terrorist attack of its kind. They had managed to get their hands, or they managed to infiltrate a facility that contained missiles. Oh god, you don't know what a missile is. They got their hands on a facility that contained a very powerful weapon of war, and used it to target several national landmarks. And that began what is widely known as the War on Terror. Cobra is a decentralized group. They aren't part of any government. They exist all across the regions of Sheshazad, Barhara, Sunderland, and Issaria, and even in parts of Austral. Basically ever around the Lemurian Ocean. They're trying to stage revolutions and remove governments that are in power, and create a sort of pseudo-communist nation, but they don't call it communism. They basically want people to rule themselves. No governments.
Something similar to anarchism.
Exactly. But they don't use that word for it because they don't like it. They think that rather than having nations, we should just have communities. And those communities should be interconnected and protected by Cobra. They claim to not want it to not be a government, but really it just sounds like a more complicated way of forming a new government.
It does.
And so that led to research into super soldiers being spurred up again, and in the last couple of years we've had the number of super soldiers triple. And not all of them get their powers from being injected with the super soldier serum. There's also power armor and cybernetics. You know about suits of armor, metal armor?
Yes.
So power armor is like that, but filled with things like, well, this. He holds up his phone. And as he says that, you are all approaching a building that looks like a giant cartoon rabbit head.
What?
Like, big domed building, giant rabbit ears out the top. The eyes
What
are
is-
windows.
What is this meant to be?
This
They
is...
kill red. What
Sorry.
is this?
Burger Bunny. It's a fast food restaurant. You know what a restaurant is, right?
Yes, and I can understand the rest given context because they deliver food very quickly.
Yeah, it's cheap, good filling. And you guys go in, and inside, there's a stage with a bunch of animatronic animals dancing. There's a playpen area with ball pits and tubes, and there's a dining area.
Actually, he wouldn't know what a restaurant is. The word restaurant wasn't used until the 1800s.
But he would understand the concept because of the Alpha Stigma letting him understand language. He's had... Because the Romans in our world had an equivalence to restaurants. Restaurants and, like, taverns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dining establishments.
Yeah. Some phrases Alpha Stigma will
Like
bridge
Little
the gap,
Caesars.
sometimes they won't. I'm gonna replace Little Caesars with Big Caesars in this world.
You should.
They serve giant bowls of pasta filled with pizza ingredients.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, Burger Bunny is like a mix of like old-fashioned McDonald's and a Chuck E. Cheese.
Incredible.
So you guys go into the eating establishment, and you can see the animatronics on stage as you guys walk in. He's like, yeah, power armor is basically metal armor, but filled with technology like this to help the soldier perform better. It tells them what's going on in the battlefield, it helps them target enemies, it allows them to communicate better. And they also contain things that make them more defended and stronger.
Are there people in those dancing costumes?
Oh.
Not these ones.
Yeah, no, those are animatronics.
Animatron. Writing that down. Animatronics are...
You can explain animatronics to him. I'm gonna go order us some food. I'll try and get him something not too crazy. What do you want?
Just get me the bunny burger.
All right.
Double, please.
Do you want the meal or just the burger?
The meal.
So he's gonna go and get you a bunny burger meal. I like to think the bunny burger is like almost the equivalent of a kid's meal. No.
She's trying to like not get too full because she's having dinner later.
Yeah. So he steps off to go and get a bunny burger or a bunny meal for you. Yeah, so he goes to the front counter and you guys sit at a booth, and now you get to explain to Sleepy what an animatronic is. Have fun.
Okay. So animatronics, you know what puppets are, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And you know about machinery. We explained that before.
I have a grasp. I assume
you have a vague understanding.
it's animated machinery.
Basically, animatronics are lifelike mechanical puppets.
Interesting. It seems like they work in like similar capacity to like our golems in a sense, but instead of running off of mana, they run off of your electricity.
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
And they're creepy.
Alright, kids, ready for the next song? All the kids running over and cheering, and it starts, it's very much a Chuck E. Cheese style animatronic. It doesn't move very much, and it's just piping music out.
So, do they only exist in a entertainment capacity?
Kind of.
Interesting.
You'll find them in like restaurants specifically meant for children, or that's something you don't know either. Amusement parks tend to have animatronics.
So you understand the term that amusement means happiness. Park is like a place for
like a public gathering area.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. I know what those means out of context, but together they seem to form a different meaning. You don't have to explain everything to me. I'm writing things down. I will come back to such things, and I will probably what is it? Reacquisition Colin's phone, I believe it's called, to search this internet for things. I want to familiarize myself with.
Oh, that's something I could teach you about because I brought it with me. Probably not best to. Screw it. And she rummages around in her bag and she pulls out.
What was her name again?
It's Jenna Powell.
Jenna Powell. Right then. Okay, Jenna. I did want to ask you regarding your magical abilities, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about them. Do you happen to know how
Real
you
quick,
came across?
what was Jenna pulling out?
It looks like this big book, and it opens, and it's a laptop.
Yeah.
She's pulling out a laptop.
Yeah. She pulls out a laptop and sets it down. Continue what you're saying, Sleepy.
Yeah. Do you happen to know like when these powers came into being, where or what you got them from, etc.?
So I know that I've had the energy powers since I was a little girl. I got those from my mother, I'm pretty sure. I've had them ever since I could remember. The regeneration is more difficult to pinpoint. I'm not exactly sure.
So you seem to possess some sort of innate energy manipulation, both like hereditary. You don't have any brothers. Your mother didn't have any brothers. Grandmother didn't have any brothers. Anything like that. Was it just you and your mom that had these traits, or was it anyone else in your family?
From what I can remember about my family history, my mother had these powers. My grandfather, I'm pretty sure, had a form of these powers, but his were less like mine and more towards plasma, if you know what that is.
Alright, I'm back with the food. He sits down. He sits down in front of Jenna, a cardboard rabbit head. And he puts down a bag in front of you, Sleepy. Or I should say, Sir Folk. And he has a bag in front of himself. Or no, they'd be on trays because you guys didn't get them to go. But Jenna's would still be in the rabbit head. So on the tray, there is a large cup of soda, and I'm talking American large. A large container of fries. And he got you a double stack burger.
Interesting.
And Burger Bunny, their whole gimmick, the top of the bun is designed to look like a rabbit head, so it has ears on it. That are accomplished by putting a toothpick with pickles on it. And like the eyes are made out of cooked into the bun.
An interesting. He's gonna kind of like poke it with his finger. This eye.
Oh my god, you didn't have sandwiches, did you?
Is there?
This
to a capacity. To a capacity, yes. I guess I assume I eat.
Sandwiches didn't exist until well past the Middle Ages.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't exist until like.
No one ever thought of taking two slices of bread and putting some fucking ham between it.
There's a specific set of I saw a really cool thing talking about this. There's a specific set of requirements that led to a sandwich you do not think about. You need the ability to have ready prepared meat, fresh, clean vegetables on hand, and bread that you have sliced and icing. Like, the things that go into a sandwich require monitored amenities. Because, like, if you were going to be cooking meat, you would just be having the meat. You wouldn't be making sandwiches single serve out. You would make a big meal when you had meat.
Yeah, damn, you're right.
It's like...
No.
Yeah.
There's no fork or spoon. Yeah, so
yeah. He's like, oh, you never had a sandwich before.
No. I
This
would
is
assume I eat this, but there's no fork or knife or anything or
that's why the bread is
utensil.
there. So
So
Sorry?
Jenna's gonna take her sandwich out of the bunny head.
mhm,
She's keeping the box, by the way.
yeah.
And she like picks it up and she like plucks the little pickle ears off and she takes a bite of one. And she holds the sandwich in both hands and she goes, like so, and takes a big bite out of it.
It means the less creation of dirty utensils. It's a more efficient way to eat food, essentially. That's it's so funny explaining a sandwich to someone. He chuckles. These are
And so
very
I
commonplace.
assume I eat this yellow thing in a similar fashion with my hands, with my fingers.
Yeah,
Yellow thing?
the French fries.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I tend to eat them 3 or 4 at a time.
I'll go ahead and tell you what all of this is, so you know. The yellow things are French fries.
They're sliced fried potatoes.
You do not know what the potato is, by the way, Sleepy.
You
Interesting.
fucking bet.
Potatoes
A
did not
vegetable-
exist. Potatoes did not exist in England. They came from America.
Yeah, they did come from America.
Yeah, it's like they're so you say they're sliced
And
fried
then-
potatoes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Potato.
Oh, they specifically
Right.
came from South America.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, and he's like, and that is a burger. It's 2 pieces of bread. In between it, there is a burger of cow meat that's been ground and cooked. On it is a slice of cheese, American style. Or no, it wouldn't be American style in this. This world wouldn't have American cheese because there's no America.
What?
Colonial style cheese.
In fact, this whole building doesn't exist.
It's colonial style cheese, a thin slice of tomato, another thing you've never heard of, Sleepy, a slice of lettuce, some onions, and then ketchup and mustard, which are 2 sauces made from grinding together various herbs.
Incredible. And then the thing in the
Oh, the cup.
silo? The pillar? Cup? Okay.
It's a large cup. I got you large and everything because I figured you might be hungry. I don't know. I just assumed. That's soda. It is carbonated water, which is water with bubbles in it that's had a syrup comprised of various flavors and sugars to make it taste good.
Yo, wait.
The question is, did he put the straw in there already, or is it like an open top?
The straw is in with the paper over the top.
And so, what do I do with? Do I just? He's gonna
Fun
kind of like.
fact. Fun fact: straws have existed since 4th century BCE.
I'm
no,
loving you coming out with all the
thank-
history info.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, straws have existed for a very, 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 very long time.
Oh, and so then I just drink it through. I guess I remove, and it's gonna take the little piece of paper off.
Yes, straws. I know what that is.
It's a
A
Nuka-Cola.
plate.
I specifically got you a Nuka-Cola.
Interesting.
Oh, what'd you get me?
Plate full of things I've almost never had.
And
I'm
when
gonna have to find out what a potato, a tomato is, ketchup, mustard, Nuka-Cola.
Nuka-Cola is the name of the soda type.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna take a drink of this Nuka-Cola.
It tastes
I'm gonna
kind of
roll
like
to
a
see-
Dr. Pepper mixed with a root beer.
I'm gonna roll to see if he likes it. Wow,
Oh,
he
the fizz
really
is-
likes Nuka-Cola. Holy shit.
The fizz, though. Him experiencing
He really-
fizz for the first time.
He really likes it. I got a nat 20 on
I
that.
imagine
He really likes Nuka-Cola.
I imagine he's like blinking in shock from the spiciness of the fizz.
Aye, this is the nectar of the gods.
Caffeine and sugar will do that. Careful,
This is-
too much can make you fat.
Perhaps the greatest invention ever.
Mhm.
He's gonna sit it down. I must treasure this.
And those little cubes in it are ice. We can just make ice using fridges now.
He wouldn't know
Just
what a
like
fridge
a-
is.
Fridge. Look,
And don't call it an icebox either.
a fridge is like a cupboard that is designed to make things cold.
cover design makers. Okay, cool. I'm gonna eat some of these French fries. Since my friend Jenna
Jenna.
said to eat 3 or 4, I'm gonna eat 3 or 4. I'm gonna see if I like them.
I love that you're rolling to see if he likes foods.
Yeah, okay.
I hope everybody's okay with the fact that this episode transitioned from crazy medieval era wizard battle to time traveler experiencing fast food for the first time. This is literally the meme of if you gave a medieval peasant Doritos, is what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Oh, and when you eat the burger, make sure you take the pickles off of the top, because those have little sticks in them and they can stab you.
Actually, I feel like
I made that mistake.
I'm gonna throw out, due to a lawsuit that happened with Burger Bunny, they have instead concocted edible toothpicks.
Well, she wouldn't know that. Last time she came here,
He's gonna be
she
like,
got stabbed.
he's like, actually, the toothpicks are edible now.
What?
They got in a lawsuit when a kid ate one.
Yeah,
Incredible.
you know what? That makes sense.
You
Wow.
don't know what the term
He's
lawsuit
right.
is, Sleepy.
Yeah, I'm gonna open my book. Lawsuit.
Ollyric, look in the chat.
I
to
see. You
Oh
posted
my-
Guy
Oh
Fieri.
my God.
This guy. So how you guys doing tonight?
One of my favorite memes is somebody edited him to have different colored hair and shirts. It's like Guy Fieri, Guy Watery, Guy
Yes.
Earthy, Guy Airy. The guys
When the
lived in
world needed him
peace.
most,
Yeah.
the guy Avatar he vanished.
Yeah. Master of all 4 Flavortown flavors. And people were joking like, alright, so if Guy Fieri's all about spicy food, what do the other ones do? And somebody was like, Guy Watery just puts menthol in all of his food.
Fuck, that's disgusting.
But yeah, so what does he think of the French fries?
I got a 13 on that, so it's gonna go. These are okay, you know.
They're better when you dip them in the varied sauces. I personally like. Oh god, I'm trying to think of a bunny pun for the fucking sauce.
I think their
Do we have-
flagship sauce would just be called bunny sauce. Their signature sauce.
I personally like dipping my fries in the bunny sauce.
Bunny sauce.
Eating it.
Do you have some?
He holds out one of the little plastic cups. They keep the recipe secret. The only ingredient we know is in it is a carrot puree. But there's also bunny sauce on the burger.
Interesting. Well, let me try the sauce, I guess, before I eat the burger. Okay.
The
he
burger
likes it.
also
He
has-
likes it.
I was gonna say the burger also has shaved carrot on it. What were you gonna say about the?
Oh, he likes it a little bit more. The sauce isn't bad. Yes. Interesting. It's a lot more flavorful than the ones I'm used to.
Out of world, it is a mixture of ketchup, mayonnaise, and carrot.
God, it's so boring.
Of course, it's fast food.
I know. All right, I'm gonna try this burger. Wow. He likes the burger. Yeah, he's gonna, I guess, just pick it up, take a big bite of it.
And the guy is gonna.
Like, juice is gonna go down his chin because he's not used to eating something this way.
As he's chewing, the guy's gonna turn to Jenna. Don't you kids have a joke about this with people from medieval age eating modern food?
How old do you think I am?
You're younger than me. What,
Hey.
like 20s?
You're all younger than me.
I'm guessing
He's
you
got a
like.
point.
I'm guessing you like it.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I can't imagine it's that bad. It's just cooked beef with vegetables.
Yes, but again, what was it? Tomatoes, potatoes? They're things I've never heard of. You know?
Oh, you didn't have those in your time?
No.
Huh.
I'm impressed.
He,
And I'm guessing that foods like this is widely available in most places.
yeah, around the United Colonies at least. There are some parts of the world that still have food insecurity. And he pulls up a picture of a potato on his phone. He's like, "This is what a potato is."
Oh,
And you can
so
do a lot of things with potatoes.
interesting.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
They're actually pretty healthy, I guess. Although that one isn't. He points to the French fries. Anything fried stops being healthy.
Okay, now let me correct you there. Anything is okay in moderation. If you eat nothing but French fries every day, every single day of your life, then yeah, it's unhealthy. But if you have it as a treat every now and then, it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah. And this is a tomato. He shows you the picture of the tomato.
A beautiful vegetable.
It's a fruit, actually.
Ah, interesting.
There's a lot of arguments about that, actually. Because, most fruits you can just eat straight up, while vegetables, a lot of people wouldn't eat straight up just the vegetable. But tomato, it tastes like a fruit, or it tastes more like a vegetable than a fruit, in a lot of people's opinions.
But I would just eat a tomato, straight up. Call me weird.
He looks
I
at
don't
you
care.
with, like, a grossed out look.
What? You've never... Tomato, cut up into slices, sprinkled with salt, stick it in your face.
I would not eat straight tomato. But back with the superhero thing. Yeah, we have a lot of superheroes now, but they all are made using, well, drugs. Government mandated, or government sanctioned drugs.
I wouldn't say all of them.
Well, where did your powers come from?
I got mine from my mother.
Where did your mom get them?
I don't know.
I
That
guarantee
kind of happened before I was born.
I guarantee if you trace it back, your family was probably involved in one of the government's super soldier programs. Anyone with superpowers
Well,
is either that or they were a criminal.
There is a chance that some innately magical beings were able to continue passing down, continuing their bloodline, and certain people were able to pick up those powers at certain points. But that will require me doing a more deep dive into the more recent history for an understanding of what may have caused such things.
You mentioned innately magical creatures. What are some magical creatures you've seen? I don't want to hear ones you've heard of. I want to hear ones you've seen, by the way.
I've seen?
Yeah.
Dragons.
What is
certain...
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna stop you there. What does a dragon look like?
Depends on where they're from, as depending on which region, part of the world you want to say, dragons can take on different traits. There are... Yes?
How big is the average... How big is the dragon you saw?
I've seen multiple. They can be varying sizes depending on their age and what kind they are. But generally, the rule of thumb is longer dragons are around, the bigger they become. Which, in certain cases, they become so big they take a deep nap and then they don't wake up because they're hibernating. And they just sleep until something big enough knocks them half asleep. They move for a little bit and they go back to sleep.
He's gonna, like, pull up a picture of, like, a traditional Western dragon. He's like, this, right?
Some of them could definitely look like that, yes. There's similarities.
Is the one you saw kind of like this?
One of them, well, I say one of them, most of them, yes. I've seen some,
Dragons were real?
I don't know how to say Eastern dragons. Like, I don't know what I would call them.
Dragons from the East, you would say, I guess, is what your character would realistically say.
Yeah. Dragons from the East take on a sort of different look.
Dragons were real.
Unless they've all been killed. Which,
never
considering how much heroing and were happening back in the day.
Dragons kind of don't exist anymore.
They're considered a myth. People don't even think they existed ever.
I mean, I don't know. I knew some dragon magic in my day.
Which people also didn't think dragons or also didn't think wizards and magic existed. So, man, you're really just recontextualizing so. How do people forget dragons existed?
In history, especially during these dark ages, was there a figure with long white hair? With the banner of a white hawk.
White hawk. Oh, the white hawk was the symbol of the new holy the new holy Never Dawn Empire. Or Ever Dawn Empire. They were like one of the last they were one of the biggest kingdoms of the Middle Ages.
And what happened to them, if I may ask?
They grew very large, their king died, and the kingdom dispersed. I believe the kingdoms that, or the nations that claim the most direct heritage to them, hang on, hang on.
I was about to say, they probably went the way of most big nations. They grew, they fell.
Yeah. A lot of nations that rose up in the aftermath of them tried to claim to be sort of the heir to them, the same way they claimed to be the heir of the original New Dawn Empire. The countries that tend to make the biggest claim towards ownership of the title are Antegria and Latveria, generally. Most people would rather be recognized as a nation disconnected from these old empires, though. Or most nations.
Later on in history, Latveria was the centermost of...
They used that as a big part of their backing to claim to conquer much of Doggerland, yeah.
Well, you can assume that Latveria is probably more of a direct heir than anyone else, as it seems this white-haired man is the one that forced all of my wizard, all of wizard kind basically into hiding. And he possessed something of, I wouldn't say godly might, but of great strength, perhaps demonic in nature.
You mentioned the Crusades. You knew about them.
Yes, well,
the Crusades isn't taught very heavily in school because it's such ancient history, but from what I understand, that was a religious war. The Holy New Dawn, or the Holy New Ever Dawn Empire, it's a real mouthful, was founded by some religious leader who sought to instill his faith everywhere, and it's actually still to this day one of the prominent religions. Some people call it, hang on, I'm trying to find something. The religion is known for, sorry, I'm trying to find a thing.
Sorry.
Femtinism. It's one of the more popular religions around the world in its offshoots.
So, from what I remember about the Crusades, Ollie, were they all just about, against wizard kind, or was it just, various fantastical races and people?
From what you were able to gather, it was these religious empires trying to eliminate things they viewed as heretical, and generally speaking, most magical things were labeled as being heretical in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, femtism is one of the more common religions across the world to this day.
And then my follow-up question is, what would I know about gods?
The time of gods is from before your time. The gods are from the Bronze Age empires and all of that from before the Middle Ages.
Right.
And when the original New Dawn Empire, Ever Dawn Empire, I keep saying it wrong, when the first Ever Dawn Empire, the one in ancient times that you studied, existed, according to the stories, they were regularly in direct communication with gods. And you've heard lots of stories of people from before you were born who directly communed with gods. You never met any of these gods outside of the gods that exist in the Feywild. Who are like beings who just innately had magic powers. And there's also and like even they generally didn't claim to be gods, but rather the lords and ladies of the Feywild, because they were just like, we just have magic powers and we're cool. Some people call us gods. And you know that you've met demons who claim that gods exist. And generally spoke about, they wouldn't really be much to open talking about these things, but according to them, there were gods, and there's a god that they feared above the others, is what you have gathered from your few interactions with demonic entities. And, what was the word I used earlier? Efferents? What was it?
Effervescent, I'm sorry.
The other things, basically angels. I forget what the word I used was.
Seraphim!
Seraphim. The Seraphim, do not talk to people. You have never seen or met a Seraphim, but you have had plenty of people insist they existed. And from what you understand, Seraphim most heavily interacted with people immediately around and after the fall of the Everdawn Empire. And from the few stories we were able to gather, that empire more or less fell due to followers of words of Seraphim claiming Seraphim gave them messages from the one true God about how society needed to change. So there was a wide collection of prophets right at the end of... Then this was like a couple hundred years before you were born. There was a large collection of prophets who cropped up. That empire crumbled, mostly due to infighting, but also religious infighting caused by this upcropping of new faith that insisted that there was only one true God. And then these prophets, their teachings very much took hold after the fall of the Everdawn Empire. And many crusaders fought under the words of prophets.
And Griffith was one of those?
You would presume.
Okay.
Because everything adds up about that. That's your end of the knowledge.
Well, Colin, let me take a moment to educate you. So the gods have been silent since the fall of what I will refer to as the ancient Everdawn Empire, which existed before
the wholly new Everdawn Empire. I know that.
Yes.
It's considered one of the first great civilizations in history, the Everdawn Empire. Not the first, but one of the first large-scale ones. Most governments, most Republican governments model themselves after it to some degree or pay credit to it.
So sorry, I should say this. That was the only country, to my knowledge, that ever had any communication with gods. After its fall, the Seraphim descended, and from them came forth a bunch of prophets, spreading word about a one true God. And from there, new crusades were formed. Various prophets gathered people.
The femtism.
As you would say, pentism.
Hmm.
And so they began to wage these crusades against anything they considered to be heretical to their deity. All of which seems to be anything non-human and with magic. Seeing how he has most likely succeeded in the large capacity, as you don't have any knowledge about it.
That makes sense. From my knowledge, the Crusades were primarily about members of femtism and other offshoot religions fighting with each other about the correct teachings, because of, religious prophets, which all brought different religious texts with them.
There was in my remembrance, there was no correct teaching. There were the gods, and they existed, and demons exist, and they insist that there are gods. Amongst
God,
the Fae,
like the thought that demons are real.
and amongst the Fae, though they never really referred to themselves as gods, they were referred to as deities. And the seraphim, well, outside of the instance of, again, me hearing that they were causing a host of prophets to bring about the word of the one true God, seemed to, I don't know, there was a pantheon of gods. There was one above them that they seemed to fear. And it seems like the one they feared did what they feared, if you understand.
So, if it helps, a lot of people don't believe in gods nowadays. There are a lot of people who do, but there's also a lot of people who don't. I really don't know what the difference in amount is, but at least here in the western part of the world, femtism and its offshoots are fairly common. They're the more common religion you'll see. Because the Crusades did a really good job of instilling femtism over other teachings.
I have a question for you. Has your god of femtism ever shown himself committed any great acts?
Some people claim they've seen God or seen miracles, but generally speaking, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in any religion. There's been never any clear, heavy, defined existence of a god presenting themselves. Were there in your time? And in your time, well, actually, I will say in your time, and specifically your lifetime, outside of the Fae leaders, no. And what you saw.
No, the gods were silent.
I will say, I have a tendency to believe in a god, mostly because it brings me comfort to think that there's something after this.
You know what I mean? If there's like some sort of afterlife following.
You have no definitive evidence of an afterlife, but you do know demons frequently would ask for people's souls, as would some Fae.
Yeah, how does the Shadow Queen get her collection of souls? Does she just like pluck from the dead?
She generally seeks out people to make contracts and deals with, and sometimes souls get lost in the Shadow Fae after they pass on. You know ghosts exist. So, sometimes when a person dies, a ghost comes out of them, and sometimes it doesn't. So you know definitively ghosts are a thing. You know demons actively hunt ghosts to consume them. Demons have very openly claimed that there is a bad afterlife. Demons very openly tried to claim it exists. But, you know, demons grain of salt with everything they say, but you also have no reason to doubt an afterlife. And they've even directly implied and led to the idea of there being a heaven of some kind, a good after. From what you've understood from what demons say, there is a bad place and a good place. They literally call the place they come from the bad place whenever you talk with them, whenever you've, like, had a moment to hear it from them. They're like, oh, I come from the bad place, or do you want to go to the bad place? Like, they literally call it the bad place. And like that, it leads to the inference of a good place. And from what you understand, from what you heard from the religious people, the seraphim come from the good place, which, given your logic, your understanding of cosmology, makes sense. Because if Earth has Fae and Shadow Fae going off like either end of it, and if there is a bad place that exists separate, there must be countered a good place, putting Earth as the exact center of 4 realms. That's how it's been logicked out by you and a lot of other wizards you've spoken with. But there's very little evidence of a higher plane. There's plenty of evidence of a lower plane, of demons and the place demons come from and what they do, and people dying and going there and being brought there. Granted, all evidence that comes from demons visiting our world, and you've never seen the bad place, So it's all secondhand hearsay type stuff. You have, and all your knowledge of the good place comes from either prophets or assumption. You don't have any definitive proof of the good place.
Right.
But theoretically, you don't have definitive proof of the bad place beyond demons that you've met. But yeah, so the guy, he's like, I've always been a bit of an agnostic. He looks to you. Agnostic means you don't know for sure if there's gods, and you don't really care, I guess. But I'm also skeptical to the whole concept. Like,
Well, some sort of gods do and did exist, but there are none that require your worship. And most will come search for you and ask for it. They want some sort of contract.
I'm gonna be honest, even though I've seen you do magic right now, and I'm now willing to believe that, I'm gonna keep doubting gods until I meet one myself.
Be careful what you wish for.
Right. Yeah.
Has there been any major incidents in this city? Anything that so weird into the...
They both laugh when you say that. Depends on what you mean by weird.
Again, I'm looking for something that could be potentially magical in nature, so something with unexplained causes, I assume.
Some giant creatures have been coming out of the bay.
Quite a few, actually.
In recent news, there was a 2-story tall frog, a 3-story
the
tall
frog.
lobster thing. There was a 1-story tall, sort of horseshoe crab. They're getting bigger. He looks over at you. I just put that together in my head. We've had 3 giant creatures, and they were 1-story, 2-story, and 3-story tall, respectively.
Yeah.
And when was the last time these showed up?
Couple of weeks ago.
Jenna would know this.
Yeah. It's like a couple of weeks ago, the crab creature attacked the bays of, They're mostly attacking the areas around the neighboring city of New Liberty.
Yeah, I remember. I remember hearing about that. Scary stuff.
Other than that, mostly just superhero and supervillain stuff. Standard affair, unusual. Honestly, that's the most out-of-norm thing, is the giant creatures in the sea.
I see, with these heroes and villains running around, it makes it difficult to pinpoint exactly what could be magical. I do want to take some time to maybe explore a more prominent museum. See if they have any magical artifacts that may be laying and hidden without anyone's understanding of what it really is.
Alright. Since you'll be crashing with me, I think I'll try and show you... I'll try and arrange when I'm not working trips to museums and I guess magic shows and fortune tellers to help you find magic. God, I'm really getting myself involved in this.
Also a way to make money.
Oh, that's gonna be a problem. You need a social security number. We should bring you to the government.
Colin, you said your name was?
Yeah.
Jenna pulls out a piece of paper, writes her number down, hands it to him. Just in case you want some company dealing with our time-traveling friend.
Yeah, sure. We should really contact the government about this. So, he looks at you. You probably can't get a job right now.
Interesting.
You need a social security number.
And an ID.
Yeah. So, every person, when they're born in this nation, is given a number. It's their social security number, and it's to help the government keep track of how many people have been born and how many people there are, and to help protect your identity from being stolen. And, without a social security number, most places probably won't give you a job.
Unless you get hired by, like, an indie company or something that
Yeah,
don't really
and that
care.
would technically be illegal employment.
Yeah.
Technically, right now, you're an illegal immigrant. Huh.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't want to give you to the government right now.
I mean, any trouble with the law that crops up, I could probably help. I'm a law student, by the way.
So, like, I feel like if the government found out about you, they'd lock you in a room and try and learn as much magic as they can from you, if I'm being real.
Very likely, considering the government.
So you probably can't get a legit job.
Well, you said that there was these superheroes and supervillains. Is there like a bounty board, perhaps?
Not really. That's not how law works anymore. Actually,
The bounty hunters can kind
there
of
are
have gone out
bounty
of style.
hunters.
There are. Not a lot of them, but they do exist.
And there is bounties, still. It's just a lot less common. Generally, heroes don't get paid for what they do. Well, depending. There's two types of heroes that exist. Vigilantes and government heroes. Government heroes are directly paid by the government to fight crime. Vigilantes do it out of the goodness of their heart.
Well, I'm not too terribly interested in getting entangled with this nation's government quite yet. And unfortunately, I'm not so gracious to help commoners out with their issues without some sort of payment.
Do you know how to make protective charms? Cocks an eyebrow. I mean, you know magic.
Maybe. I think maybe.
There's always people who believe in witchcraft looking to buy shit like that online, and if you can make legit ones...
Speaking as someone who is into witchcraft, I would buy some.
Is that real life you or Jenna?
Jenna's kind of witchy.
You think my character could do that?
You do not know any spells for that as you search your mind for it.
Oh, I can't make protection or shielding, but what about doing it on like one of my existing spells instead of a shield spell?
Sleepy, you know what you can do?
What?
You can write down a magical circle from one of your spells on a piece of paper and sell it with instructions on how to cast the spell. Has one-time use spells.
Oh my god. No, wait. I feel like I know enough to where like I could tear it, or like I could just have the condition where they tear it, and then just say
they
the
would need
keyword.
to say the special words and hold up the paper. Essentially, some would require you to have a certain hand gesture. That being said, somebody could reverse engineer those papers to then start learning magic.
Which actually I think I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, I can't make any protection talismans, but what I can make is 5 different kinds of one-time use magic scrolls.
I'll show you how to make an Etsy store.
It's an internet thing.
Or I guess it wouldn't be Etsy. A crafty store. I'll show you how to make a crafty store.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna throw this out to you in total transparency. For the sake of this, because you can't get a bank account, I'm just gonna make your account under my bank account, and I'll give you the money you earn. But in return, I'll let you get settled in for a while, but I'll start charging you a cut of the rent after a while, if you're okay with that. You've never heard the term rent.
Rent.
It's payment for room and board, basically.
So all money I earn, my home, I have a set amount of money I need to give my landlord every month. Which in your time, it would more normally be like a crop. They would take a share of your crops.
So instead of taking some of your goods, they instead take some of this money that you've earned.
Yeah, he takes out his wallet and starts to put down money. I'm sure you had currency in your time. As he's like laying out the money. Yeah, we have paper money. And so each bill has a predetermined denomination on it, as you can see. And these are a stand-in for other goods. It's used as an intermediary between trade. Most things use currency now, or most transactions are currency-based nowadays. We also have these. He puts down his credit card. So our money is kept in a bank account. Did you have banks? And yes, you had banks in your time.
We banks, yes, places that stored money.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's not always convenient to carry all your money around on you, but it's also not convenient to have to stop at the bank every time you need to get money out. So these credit cards, using the same systems that the phone uses, communicate with the
internet?
bank. Yeah, through the internet, and they communicate to the bank. So every person who has one of these cards has a custom card, and on it is this little black slip and these numbers, and you have your own number that you memorize in your head. And whenever you use the credit card, you need to use all of this information to directly connect whatever cash register you're using to your bank to transfer the money straight from your bank to their bank. So the banks do the money trade instead of you. But I like to carry some cash on me because not all places accept card, as he gets it all back together in his wallet.
I do the same thing.
Also, fair warning, most people don't have wings and no one can do magic. You do those, you're going to stand out. In fact, I've noticed a lot of people looking at you just because of the way you're dressed. Which you've noticed everyone in this world dresses differently than you.
This is traditional Wizard King garb.
From 800 years ago. But we don't have Wizard Kings anymore. And even people in government don't wear stuff like that. If you want to dress nicely, you'll have to dress, well, like me. He undoes his coat, and you can see he's got, like, a button-up shirt and a tie. And, like, he's, like, full-on in a dress suit. I was on my way to my job when, when you talked to me.
What do you do for work?
I could come work with you.
Yeah, you can't, because you don't have a social security card. I'm an accountant. I primarily work in like accounting and trade for large business companies. I work at a firm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, you know what the term accountant means? He looks to you. That's convenient.
I understood from the context of everything else you said.
Yeah, I help companies to manage their money and look, because as companies get bigger, they trade in a lot of money, and it's hard to track.
I knew you were a decent scribe. I knew it.
And I said this earlier, I'm going to school for law.
Oh, yeah, you don't know. Ooh, legal systems is way different for us than it was for you. We now have this...
most likely.
We now, in this country, have right to trial. Anyone who commits a crime is assumed innocent until proven guilty.
And it's my job, or it will be my job, if I pass the bar exam and finish school, to either prove someone is guilty or prove someone is innocent.
Yeah, so
that's my thing.
The people go into a court, which is a room where a judge is and sometimes a jury, and each side will present evidence. So generally, the prosecutor who's trying to get somebody arrested or charged with a crime will bring all the proof they can muster that the person committed the crime, while the defendant has to disprove that evidence, show that it's false, show that it's not true, and prove they didn't do it.
public hearing, or like when nobility is called before the king for evading their taxes and various other flaws in their behavior,
Yeah.
and try to defend themselves and fail.
And there's thousands of laws now to help make sure this is a balanced process, that everyone is treated fairly and equally. And so people need to hire people like her, lawyers, to help them understand all the laws.
Interesting. Very convoluted, but I suppose it needs to be with cities of this size everywhere.
Yeah.
And also people trying to shirk the law.
Yeah, people try and find loopholes in it all the time to break it. Did you have any other questions about modern society?
I have some, I'm sure. I'll have plenty more, but I think my biggest thing I'm going to learn first is how this internet works. It seems like I can find many of my answers there.
Like I said, just be sure to cross-reference and study a lot, because anybody can put anything on the internet. So there's a lot of lies on there.
And if you aren't certain, you can just ask one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I spent 800 years in a room going through various wizard tomes. Some wizards. It's gonna kind of shake his head.
Wait, so
They really like to embellish the truth.
You've been in a room for 800 years reading wizard books.
Part of the price.
I mean, if the reward is immortality, I guess I could see myself taking that deal.
Immortality, as long as I'm within the Shadow Queen's realm, which I am not.
Oh, so you're aging again. Then why?
I've been
How old are you?
What's the point of that deal? He's from the Crusades. Keep up.
No
yeah.
kidding. How old was he back then? Duh.
He would have been like 35, so he's still 35. Well, not taking into account my 800-year jaunt through the Feywild, 35.
Oh, cool.
Only a couple years younger than me.
I'm the youngest one here. Oh, no.
Even if we were the same age in the same time, my wisdom and nature would completely dwarf. Completely dwarf.
Yeah, but can you find the area of a triangle?
Can you?
Yeah, I'm an accountant.
Actually,
What does that have to do with...
I need math.
well, incidentally, so do I.
Still, while you're
I
smart
need
and
to figure out
magic.
when was math discovered. 3000 BC. How about you sit on and spin, motherfucker?
He's like, all right, well, I'm sure there's a lot I know that you don't know. Mostly down to the fact that I have, that you've been gone for 800 years, but still.
Yeah, 800 years does a lot to one's knowledge base. But I have information that is completely unknowable to anyone besides myself. So, in the same vein.
But yeah, I think unless you have more you want to talk to him about, that will be the end of session.
I said, I don't really know what else to do.
All right, we've established you into the world. Woo!
Hell yeah.
I now want artwork of of Sir Folk eating Doritos while listening to Beyonce.
God.
Takis.
Jenna brings Sir Folk different, like, snacks to try.
Oh, so good. All right, that was I think that was a pretty good session. Good,
Yeah,
crazy action start.
How does one get XP points?
You get 1 experience every session automatically.
You'll need to eat more cheeseburgers.
I'm gonna say I'm sorry, Sheebs. you aren't gonna get an XP because you mostly just popped in the latter half for fun roleplay.
Yeah.
Because you happen to be here. So,
I'm gonna
I wasn't
go ahead and
expecting.
up my spell slots from 6 to 7.
All right, you get an extra spell slot. Nice. But yeah, that's been this episode of Hero Infinite. I hope all you watching on YouTube have enjoyed. Go watch Sheeps when they smile. Or when they smile when they stream. Sorry,
Don't watch me when I smile.
I was looking at my OBS and Books and Smiles was in front of me, so my eyes were on the word smile while I was talking. That's why I did. Go watch Books and Smiles. Go watch Sheeps when they stream. Go watch Books and Smiles. Sleepy, do you have anything you want to plug?
No.
You sure you don't want to plug this, huh? Anyway, go support me on Ko-fi. Blah blah blah.
Watch him smile.
End cards appearing in a moment. Love all you very much, and ta-ta for now. Imagine if it turned out I didn't have the Discord recording this whole time.
That'd be incredible.
I would cry.
Alright, episode ending. Bye!